I can own Splatterhouse for $18.
It's not bad.
There we go.
Do it.
Is it digital or is it?
eBay. It's the actual physical copy.
Yeah, may as well.
Never seen this trailer.
Hello, folks on YouTube. If anybody's watching,
I have Jason Lives playing on my portable DVD player here. Over in the distance, you can see it.
are you gonna eat that whole entire jar of pickles, Brian?
I got 2 left, Jared.
Holy smokes! Do you know how much sodium that is?
You keep saying things like I care.
You were so health conscious earlier. I'm sorry.
It's Friday the 13th. I'm waiting for Jason to kill me.
When in Rome. We have two. We have 2 Nathans.
Oh, you have 2 days.
How did that happen?
I don't know. I'm gonna be echo. Uh-oh.
Hey, that trailer is finishing up right now.
Hello? Okay.
Yep. No echo.
Okay. Oh, Lord.
I'm so glad it's Friday.
Why is this all retarded?
TGIF. No, whoa, there's 2 of you, Nathan. What the fuck? I feel like someone just said that and I wasn't paying attention.
A second tab.
Holy
I
shit.
probably should have
This is dead
done that.
right here. It's freaking me out.
Oh, he's backing out and coming back.
I scared him off already. That's a new record.
Am I here?
Yep.
You're
I
here,
can,
but you're not visible.
I can hear you.
Okay. What the heck? Ah, shit.
Yeah, you may want to back out completely and then click the original link again. Yeah.
Yeah. He'll come join us.
Dude, do you know what a serving size is for one of those pickles?
You keep
Well,
telling me.
that depends on how far you insert it.
Yeah, it's 3/4 of a pickle. It's not even a whole damn pickle.
All right.
Jared, you keep telling me things that I should be afraid of.
Dude, like one pickle is like 47% of your daily sodium intake.
Keep saying that, and I keep telling you.
It's also 100% of your fucking garbage intake. Not pickles are disgusting.
I like spicy pickles, not
Well,
like regular ones.
I saw a video of people soaking pickles in Kool-Aid and eating them.
That's nasty as fuck.
Ever since I saw Necromantic 2, I've had this thing about smelly green phalluses. I just
I actually just watched that a couple weeks ago.
Dude, I fucking love that movie. I got the Sex Murder Art Blu-ray set.
Hey, yeah, me too.
Oh, it's so fucking good. I got the book too. Sex Murder. They wrote about old Jorg, one of my favorite directors.
Wow. Hey man, the cinematography looks pretty good on this stuff. What you guys shoot this with?
Which one are you looking at?
We're looking at the Hand of the Empire.
Actually, all 3 of those are Black Magic. Yeah.
Oh yeah. The pocket cam or the
The pocket.
Bro. Alright,
if you
here we
know how
go.
to color grade the stuff properly, those are beautiful cameras.
Here we go. Oh shit. What the fuck?
That's really good.
No. Let's play the intro now. Come on.
There's our intro.
Here we go. I had to fix it. I don't know why, but whatever.
You get to see me with my long locks of hair.
All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of THS Lives here tonight on this beautiful night of the Sabbath. And not only is it the Sabbath, but it is Friday the fucking 13th. And we have such an exciting show for you guys tonight. We're going to talk about all things Friday the 13th. And we have a special guest artist and director with us, Nathan Thomas Milliner, but we'll get to him very soon. Let's introduce everybody. Here I am, Brian Enright. You can follow me on Facebook at Brian Enright. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at The Horror Jew. Up next, we have Jared Letourneau. Jared, good evening.
Good evening, Brian, and all you boils and ghouls at home. If my lower third was actually working, you could see how to spell my name, but you can follow me on Facebook at Jared Letourneau or on Twitter at zombie_survivor. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Jared. Up next, we have award-winning director of I'm Dreaming of a White Doomsday, Mike Lombardo. Mike, good evening.
Good evening. I just want to say, Jared, I'm really sorry about the lower third. I know that after that accident, you've been paralyzed. It's really unfortunate. Also, I'm just really excited to be here tonight, though. This is the first. Here's a fun fact. A lot of people don't know. This is the first Friday the 13th that has fallen on Halloween in the last 6 years. But you can find me at realsplatter.com. That's real with real of films. We're really fucking clever. And facebook.com/realsplatter. And probably on hard copy eventually.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Lombardo. Up next, we have our president and cure, Ray Zor. Ray, good evening.
I never know what to say at this point. You can find me on Twitter at Razor_33, where I do absolutely nothing. Or just go to my Facebook page, and as Ray can always say, look at my dumb face. That's it.
All right. Thank you very much, Ray Zor. And, of course, we have our special guest of the evening, artist and director, Nathan Thomas Milliner. Nathan, good evening.
Good evening. How you guys doing?
Good, good.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Nathan. I'm just fucking with you. But no, it's great to have you on the show, man. Thank you for coming along. You've been pretty busy lately. You've had a lot of projects. One of the biggest ones is you had Volumes of Blood 2, which was just released on video on demand, and it's on DVD and Blu-ray right now, I believe. Yeah. Yep.
As far as I know. I don't know. They removed it. They probably removed it. No,
and you had a couple of you did a couple of cover art for Screen Factory, which we're really impressed by. And you have a fan film coming out, which is a Star Wars fan film. Is that correct?
Yeah, Hand of the Empire. It's a film we're doing for charity, for Norton's Children's Hospital. It was inspired by a little boy who unfortunately passed away from brain cancer in 2016. And a bunch of guys got together from the 501st and local and wanted to make a film and contacted me, and I ended up being the writer-director on it.
That's awesome.
That's really cool, dude.
That is cool.
The teaser trailer looks great, too, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
It's legit. I remember I've been following you since before you started production on it, and I got to watch the casting announcements, and very good job casting.
From the bushes, of course.
Oh, we were really lucky. We had 3 people who never acted before the act came in and just blew us away. And I can't believe. I mean, we're almost done. We're planning on releasing it in August. So right now we're doing all the I've never been a big effects guy. I like to do practical. I like everything to be in camera, but it's Star Wars, so we got the digital stuff going, and we're trying to do some miniatures and build some more sets, do some pickups. But we're shooting for an August release.
Very cool. Well, the thing is, you can always go back 10 years from now and fix it later. So
yeah, I'm gonna go back and put walkie talkies in the stormtroopers' hands and shit. Yeah.
Traitor.
Digitally insert Jabba the Hutt in there too, and they have a whole new dance number involved as well.
Uh-huh.
You can do the Hand of the Empire Christmas special.
Yeah. Just gurgling all the time.
Starring Kevin Hart. Portraying Richard Pryor. Am I thinking of the right shit? No. I know Richard Pryor did something with Star Wars, and it was like awful. It was like this Richard Pryor improv.
Maybe on his show, maybe he parodied it or something.
Yeah.
And he was trying to make it really funny, and he kept mentioning that he did cocaine and set himself on fire the entire time. And we're like, we know. But okay, this has nothing to do with Star Wars, Richard Pryor. Same Richard Pryor who allegedly had sex with Marlon Brando. Thank you, Richard Pryor. And it's just like, all right, well, here's a Star Wars special. And Richard Pryor was like, I set myself on fire.
Maybe Brando made him an offer he couldn't refuse. You don't know.
No, I think this was like this had to be like pre-Godfather Marlon Brando. I think that's when he's. I mean, like the guy had like major sex appeal, but as soon as he was like Don Corleone, I mean, I think he scared children away.
He put a bucket on his head the whole time and refused to take it off. That's the question that we need to have answered.
Rest in peace, Richard Pryor. Rest in peace, Marlon Brando. We won't talk about them because they're not with us tonight, and it's not good to talk about them on a horror show. But horror is something that we do talk about, and we have Friday the 13th as a huge topic. So let's get into it. Let's talk about everything horror, and let's talk about what are Nathan Thomas Milliner's interests in horror. I know that you do enjoy the Friday the 13th franchise, but you're an even bigger fan of the Nightmare on Elm Street, and you actually have a fan movie that you directed called Confessions of Fred Krueger, which was released back in 2015. That was first premiered at where? Horror Hound?
Horror Hound Weekend, yeah. Which one was it? Indianapolis.
Yeah.
September 2015. Yeah. It had I think they had 25 guests from the series there, so it was like this perfect time to do it. But it also was a bad time to do it because it was 2 weeks after Wes had passed away. It was crushing. But the thing that was really cool is everybody there were Nightmare fans, and everybody was kind of coming together. And we premiered the movie, and Mark Patton was in the audience with me. He made me come up and take a bow after the showing and stuff. It was really cool. And Joseph Whipp and his wife were there. He played the deputy in the first movie, and he was the sheriff in Scream. Mm. And we were just talking about it. I was like, it's really cool that we're here to remember Wes, because none of us would have been in that room at that screening or anything if it hadn't been for Wes, because it was a nightmare show essentially. Right. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's kind of cool that we're all here today because of that man, so we should honor him. And, it was cool to have Joseph there, who'd worked with him twice.
That's real.
So it was an awesome night.
So
go ahead, Mike.
All right, what's your favorite Nightmare movie?
I gotta go with the original. Yeah, I'm usually a part one guy all the time.
Let's go past the original, because that's the best one, obviously.
Past the original.
What's your favorite sequel? Because mine's part 4.
I love part 4. Part 4 was my first in theaters. And I'm doing. I just did the cover for Mick Strawn, who did the art direction for part 4 and 3. Has a book coming out about the making of part 4.
Oh wow!
I did the cover for it.
Yeah, and it's Blake Best.
It's really cool. Yeah, I mean, really, when you really think of Nightmare, part 3 and part 4 kind of gave it its look. And really Mick is. I mean, he was the art director on both of those films. So that fantasy, because the first 2 films are very real world set.
Yeah.
Real founds, like they're not sets, they're like places.
Yeah.
Whereas in part 3 and part 4, Mick was creating a whole fantasy. Because he wanted to create it. He said, I kind of wanted to make it like an Indiana Jones movie. I wanted it to be like a fantasy thing, like like you're going into another world. And
the opening of I think it's 3 with all the maybe it's 4 with all the kids' bodies hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah, that's part 3.
Yeah, that definitely puts you in mind of that. I always those are my favorite segments, just the surreal. It almost has like not quite a Tim Burton like stage look, but it's got like an artificialness to it that really helps sell it as like the dream world. I really love that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, really, I say, man, you're just kind of responsible for how those films became known or what they looked like. That to me, those part 3 and part 4, I think that's what people think of when they think of Nightmare on Elm Street.
And they both look very similar, which was a good thing, if you pair them off. I was going to say the thing I didn't think about the Indiana Jones reference, but the boiler room scene towards the end when he reveals his chest and the souls of children and everything. That totally feels Indiana Jones-ish,
Yeah.
And I love that. Still don't like that one as much as I like part 4, though.
I've always been a New Nightmare fan myself. I thought
I love New Nightmare. New Nightmare is my 3rd favorite.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I just thought it was really cool because they were like on a movie set, and anything involving making a movie was always interesting to me. But then as an adult, I watched it and I was like, "Holy shit!" Craven was dealing with some stuff when he made this. Like, it's just so personal. I love it.
It's a very personal and just very intelligent horror film. Like when it came out, I was like, "Wow, this is." Like, I was the only person in my group who liked it. Like, I just thought it was amazing.
Really?
I was like 3 buddies, and they were like, that sucked. Like, that was amazing.
I was ready for anything after Freddy's Dead came out. I mean, I liked Freddy's Dead when it originally came out.
God.
But, yeah, I loved New Nightmare when I first saw it immediately. It was so different, and that's what I liked about Nightmare to Nightmare 2 and to 3. They were all different in tone, and this one was just completely different. And it's probably I think if you rated them, it's the second best of the series. But there's still a lot of people who bitch about it, and I don't understand why. It's almost an ingenious film.
The New Nightmare is pretty much the Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. Wouldn't you agree, Ray?
No. What are you talking about? Jason Goes to Hell. Freddy's Dead. Okay.
No, that is not.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, that's a bad parallel. I don't agree.
Oh, it's the exact.
How about Manhattan and Freddy's Dead?
No. I watched that this morning. I love that movie.
What movie?
Jason Takes Manhattan.
Oh, that one's not even as bad as people say it is.
Well, look. They made Freddy's Dead. Came out in 1991, right? 2 years later, Jason Goes to Hell comes out. Very similar titles. I mean, come on.
Yeah, well, what about Friday 4, the final chapter? I mean, they kind of riffed on that. That was like the first time they're like, this is over, except not.
I'll be honest. I like Freddy's Dead either way. It's just not the best one.
No, it's got fun stuff. People complain that the kills are too over the top and goofy, and I'm like,
there's only 3 of them.
Nightmare on Elm Street movie before, right? Like that's kind of the point. Like
the cast list itself is like, oh my god, we got Breckin Meyer, Roseanne, and Tom Arnold. And Alice Cooper. How could this movie go possibly wrong?
Yaphet Kotto, that's how.
The movie was fucking garbage.
It was amazing,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You know what? Go ahead, Mike.
I think the only thing Freddy's Nightmare is guilty was it was too pop culture-y. Because I don't know, like with like the Wizard of Oz reference in the beginning and stuff, like it got a little too silly.
Yeah.
I'll get you, my pretties, and your little souls too.
It still fit. I felt like tonally it still fit the rest of the series. I mean, they got really ridiculous, but that's what you want. That's what you want when you're watching, Freddy. You want to see him quipping and doing.
I think people put their blinders on and say after part 3 or part 1 even that they get ridiculous. I think Freddy's Dead was ridiculous. Because Dream Child was pretty serious.
I love
it.
Well, Dream Child is serious until you get to the Freddy scenes.
Yeah, exactly.
Freddy's riding a fucking skateboard in that movie, okay?
That's true. But he's in a comic book at the same time, though,
That was, to me, the moment it changed. When Freddy comes out on a skateboard, turns into Super Freddy.
Super Freddy.
It's gone a little far,
Yeah. I mean,
oh, man.
It had a message, okay?
Well, you know what always bugged me about that movie, that scene with the comic book kill, is that after he slashes him up, like the paper cutout, they never show the body afterwards. That would have been such a cool effect. I feel like that would have been almost too violent for a Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
Well, they blew their wad on the effect of pulling him into the comic.
Those visual effects back then would have cost a ludicrous amount of money. But
That's
that
what
Miller
I
scene,
was watching that scene.
like where he turns into like a Cronenberg scene for some reason. Like,
Yeah.
That's cool as shit.
That was cool. That movie's got. I mean, it's an adult film, really, because it's about pregnancy and all this, and then it's got this gothic horror. It's really cool, and Stephen Hopkins directed the shit out of that thing. It's like cinematically, it's a beautiful film from a director's point of view. But when Freddy pops up, he's like a game show host or something. It's really weird that when the villain shows up, it's when it's the funniest.
Maybe it's when he was trying. They were trying to balance it out because there are some scenes in Dream Child that are really dark, like the whole thing with Yvonne in the church and looking for Amanda Kruger. Kind of was dark and very gothic, which Hopkins talked about in the documentary about how he was into gargoyles and he's English too, isn't he? Is he Australian? And anyway, but yeah, I mean, there's some dark moments. Where you're right. I never thought about that. It's Freddy balances out the dark.
When Freddy shows up, it's not.
Well, I mean, I feel like
he's a chef. He's a skateboarder. You know.
Well, I feel like at that point they were kind of
bitch.
Generation killer. That's what Freddy was. And like at that point, everyone wanted the wisecracking.
Well, Jason Lives was what changed it to me. Jason Lives took the slasher by the time we got to 87, 86, 88. The slashers were becoming a parody of themselves. And
for sure.
Are you not a fan of Jason Lives?
I love it. It's actually my favorite.
Okay, it's my favorite too. I was just making sure.
Yeah. I mean, I said that was
the point at the time.
For me, Jason Lives is arguably the best written and directed of the segment.
Absolutely.
It's just a great film, and it's even though it went campy. It's just, I don't know, there's something, it worked really well about it. Tommy was really able to balance it.
Tom Matthews is fantastic. And I don't think that it ever went campy, like, in a bad way. Like, it was self-referencing, or self-aware, but it never got ridiculous. Like, it still felt like a Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah.
But it was kind of cut that way, too. Like, the part where the caretaker of the cemetery says, what do they think, I'm a turd head or whatever? And then all the kids go, fart head, yeah. Fart head. So,
little jokes and stuff, like when the American Express card floats by.
Yeah, never leave home without it.
Yeah, it's like you're just waiting for a punchline.
Yeah.
That's where they should have had Freddy's glove come out of the ground. And then you could have been perfect.
Take the American Express card.
You're wrong, Mike. That's when they should have had the Leprechaun come out and be like, where's me pot of gold?
Leprechaun didn't exist yet.
That's true.
You're right.
They didn't invent leprechauns until...
He was Willow at the time. He wasn't Leprechaun.
Well, okay, then fuck it. Willow should have popped out.
He should have.
Willow does. I don't remember.
Where's me Val Kilmer? I don't know.
Well,
but
Val Kilmer's going to be cast to play Tommy Jarvis, too.
Oh, really?
No, I'm joking. I don't know.
Do you know that Val... Oh, I don't want to go into it. Never mind. Don't worry about it. But yeah, no.
Doubtfire rant?
What?
Is this the Mrs. Doubtfire rant?
No. This is Val Kilmer decking someone out during the audition of The Doors. So I'm not going to get into it. But Jason Lives was probably Ray got me into Jason Lives because like I wasn't a huge fan of the Friday the 13th series. Like I was all about Nightmare on Elm Street. And then like it's funny because like everyone who grew up with Nightmare or Friday the 13th series were just like, oh my god, I love these movies. And growing up, I was like, I don't really see what the big deal is about it. And then I like watching it as an adult, I'm like, I get it. Fuck, I should have watched this when I was younger. But I like, but the movies that I watched when I was younger, which played on TV all the time, was Jason Takes Manhattan, and that was like my favorite to this day of all the movies. Even though Part 6 is really the best movie that they did because it was like the first time when they said, oh my god, we know what the fans want. Let's make a movie and give the fans what they fucking want. But Jason Takes Manhattan was like my favorite because it was just like you can go into that movie and just not think. You could just watch it and be like how do they get to Manhattan from New Jersey? Like, in the middle of the fucking
tributary from Crystal Lake. We've established this.
Yeah, there's a tributary that goes out into the ocean.
they're on a rowboat, And then they're like, "Oh my God, what's that?" And it's a Statue of fucking Liberty. And it's just like, how do we get here? It's like that scene had me cracking up. And there was like more people on the boat that just like all their deaths were just like I guess off the camera because there was like 30 people who showed up, and I think we got like maybe like 8 or 9 death scenes.
Well, not to mention how many people actually worked on that ship.
Yeah.
You know, was it just the crazy janitor guy and then the two, you know, Sean's dad and the other, his navigator or whatever? Is that it?
Yeah, the navigator.
Yeah, and like, you know, our lead heroes does heroin, but is like immediately fine 5 minutes later. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And that's
I don't know if you've ever been to New York City, but the first time I went, I was immediately held down by a group of thugs. Heroin, and then they tried to drown me in a barrel of toxic waste. I mean, really, I feel like the thing about Jason Takes Manhattan that people don't, I think it's not really underappreciated movies. One, it's got a kind of almost David Lynch surrealness to it, which I really appreciate. And two, I think it's a really potent metaphor for the state of immigration. I mean... you know, but I'm not going to get into that. You know, it's just the American dream turned nightmarish if you think about it. But I love Jason's design in that movie the best because he's just like he's so slimy and gross looking. It's just and the Sauna Rock kill is like one of the best in the series.
Yeah, definitely.
Even better than Part 7, Jason.
What's that?
Even better than Part 7, Jason, because that's like in my opinion the best looking.
I love him because he's got the bones sticking out because that was Carl Buechler designed that. That was great, but Part 8, Jason took that like one step further. Where he's like bloated and rotten and stuff. Like he actually felt undead to me. Part is too dry.
His clothes actually were able to grow in the ocean over the time that between 7 and 8.
Well, the changing of the tides helped keep them firm. I mean,
Well, you know, once Ariel got her voice back and became a mermaid again, she was able to reap and sew Jason Voorhees' clothes back together.
What if Jason emerged from the East River holding Ursula's head like the end of Freddy vs.
Who knows? What if he emerged as fucking Red Lobster and started singing about life under the sea? Like, I don't know. But
or with a Red Lobster.
You know, why not both?
That would be. They went to a diner, but I don't think they went to Red Lobster.
Somewhere.
But you know, going back to Nightmare on Elm Street movies, my favorite of all of them was once again on TV all the time, and that was Freddy's Revenge. And like everyone always disses on this movie. They're like, this movie was gay, and I'm like, yeah.
How gay was it?
That's the point. Like, but I mean,
no,
like,
it wasn't the point. Jack Shoulder didn't make that to be gay.
Yeah, I didn't.
He did.
I still watch it, and I really don't see it.
If you watched the Tommy Hudson documentary, the guy who wrote it intended it to be kind of like a homosexual what
documentary are you talking about? Because in Never Sleep Again, he didn't know.
Are you sure?
Yeah, and Never Sleep Again.
Don't buy that they didn't know. I mean, I think it's really it's got a lot of really interesting subtext to it.
It's like 1983. Everybody danced stupid.
No, I think everyone went to an S&M club and then hung out with their gym teacher in the showers.
I think that in 1983, everyone was very afraid to be openly gay, and that's why I think the movie works really well. I mean, it's also just badass Freddy. Like, he's really evil in that movie, and there's some great effects scenes.
Well,
I definitely think there's some subtext going on.
I don't know why anybody would hate that movie because it's gay or whatever. I think it's fantastic because it's different from all the other ones where Freddy's actually trying to find a human avatar, or, possession, which they never, as far as I can tell, they never explored that again. And that's one of the things I really like.
Freddy try to swap into another person's body or something, like a different entry in the franchise.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
Because I think they did that in this other series of movies where people really shit on it.
No.
Which was
that was poorly done.
Really,
Freddy did it first.
You guys are talking about the Hidden, right? With Kyle MacLachlan. Or The Fall with Denzel Washington.
So hold on, going back to Freddy, the scene where he tells Jesse that he's got the body. So Freddy wants his body. Is that like suggesting that Freddy's a homosexual?
God, I
Well,
hope not.
Freddie was a child molester. I mean,
That's true. Oh God.
they don't really talk
Freddie-
about it much in the series. Otherwise, I really thought that was interesting that they kind of don't address that until the remake and really hit you over the head with it. Like, by the way, you know he touched kids? Here's some pictures of him touching kids. Look, he touches kids. Look, we get it. All right, he's already a bad guy. I don't need to hate him more. Like, Jesus Christ.
Well, and it's funny in the retelling of Nightmare on Elm Street, like everyone in the theater, like we got to that moment where like the main character Nancy is looking through the photos, and like her mother's like, I need to show you something, and shows her the photos, I guess, of her being touched by Freddy Krueger, and she was like, what is this? And the mom was like, it is, it's true, he raped you. And like everyone in the theater was like quiet, and I was stoned out of my mind, and I just started dying. I was laughing so hard, and everyone was looking at me like, is he serious? I'm like, come on, you knew this. But it was just like one of those moments where it was delivered bad. It was like tongue-in-cheek delivered bad because the movie was fucking garbage. And like the people who like took that movie seriously were just like, oh my God, I'm so scared. But this was back in 2009. Like, I mean, people were scared of Paranormal Activity, which in its defense, the third one was good.
Nathan, what do you think of the remake of Nightmare?
I think their biggest problem was they forgot to have fun. Well, slashers were good. Like we didn't get to see the kids as innocents being corrupted. Like they were already damaged goods. They were already dealing with being sexually abused. So they were all. Nancy was reserved. She wasn't hanging out. She didn't have any friends. So we didn't get to see that the killing of their innocence, them having fun and hanging out together. I mean, almost like when we first see everybody together, they're pretty much at a funeral.
Yeah, exactly. They just forgot to give them backstory. As I was watching, I'm like, are they actually friends, or they just all just show up to these people's funerals? That's like the only time you ever see them in one room together.
I think that was their biggest mistake. I don't think it's a terrible movie. I've actually come to like. I never hated it. I'm not a guy that hates movies. I don't really look at it that way, but it's.
I'll send you some DVDs of my stuff then.
I'll take it over Freddy's Dead.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't like it at first, and I watch it at least once a year, and it's starting to grow on me a little bit more. It's not great.
No, it's not a great film.
Yeah, and there's a lot of.
It's got cool ideas. Ideas in it.
I really didn't care for Jackie Riley as Freddy. I think he's an excellent actor. He just didn't fit that role very well.
I thought the makeup was good.
I didn't like his makeup.
I didn't like the makeup either.
He looked. Because you don't do realistic burn makeup for Freddy. Like, that doesn't work.
No.
Look, I don't know. He just looked like... he kind of looked like the guy from Lord of Illusions. Like the sidekick, but without lips.
You know,
he took pizza and squirted it on his face, and then they did that. That's kind of what it looked like.
He reminded me of Mason Verger from Hannibal. You ever see Hannibal?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Gary Oldman character, in the wheelchair.
Not that shitty TV series, right?
No, not the show. No, the movie Hannibal.
that show started off so good, and then it was like, we're just going to forget everything that Thomas Harris wrote about, and we're just going to add our own thing. And it was just like this hot mess of the last two seasons. Because I was really waiting for like the Manhunter part to show up, like the Red Dragon part, and it finally gets to it. And it's just like, oh, Will Graham and Hannibal are secretly in love with each other. But the entire series was just like, I believe Hannibal Lecter is killing these people and eating them. And they're like, I don't know, but it sounds pretty accurate. Let's talk to Hannibal about it. Let's see what he says. And then Hannibal will be like, yes, I am eating these people and I am killing them. And they're like, you know what? We're just gonna take the benefit of the doubt and say that you're not doing this. And he's like, no, I'm killing these people and eating them. And they're like, no, you're not, Hannibal. And like the entire series is just that going back and forth. Like, Hannibal's killing people. Are you sure though? He just said he is. Let's ask him. Yes, I'm killing people. I don't believe him. I mean, Hannibal's a great guy. How can he kill people and eat them? Doesn't make any sense. Like, And it was just like, it was such a crap series. Sorry to go up on the rails. Have you guys seen Hannibal? Nathan, have
Hey,
you seen
Brian.
Hannibal?
Fireworks. What the fuck?
I'm gonna reel it back in, Brian. Okay, it's Friday the 13th, so let's talk about everybody's worst Nightmare on Elm Street film.
Dream Warriors.
What?
Yeah, the movie's garbage.
You
Sorry.
liar!
It was so boring. Like,
way.
I love Heather Langenkamp. I thought that her acting the first one was like, okay, she holds the part well. And then Dream Warriors came along, and it was just like a nail to the head. And then she really shined in New Nightmare. Like, New Nightmare, it was just like Oscar worthy, her acting. I was just like, this is not the Heather Langenkamp I've seen in the 80s. I'm like, this is a completely different Heather Langenkamp.
I agree with the acting difference. Yeah, it is. Her acting was not the greatest in Dream Warriors, but I mean,
Is that the one where she was the psychiatrist? I'm trying. I get the
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that's that one.
I think I second that. I think that's my least favorite. That's the one that has Kincaid, like in the wheelchair kid who's a wizard.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, those deaths were like that. That was too silly even for me.
Oh man, the puppet death.
Oh no! Okay, fuck. Okay, that puppet death is the best death in the entire series. That's the best scene in the whole series. That was fucking incredible. Like I love all the effects work in all of them, but I think that narratively speaking, the third one was definitely the weakest. It was just so fucking cheesy, but like cheesy in a bad way. Like I really just did not like the kid with the wizard outfit and shit. Like I can't take that seriously. Like he might as well just like thrown a D20 to see if he was gonna not get killed by Freddy or something. Like it was.
Dawkins' theme song alone had kept it from being the worst.
Yeah, that's the only thing that made that movie good. And the fact that Dream Master came out right after it. Because Dream Master is a wonderful fucking movie. I love that soundtrack. That is the best soundtrack in any of the
I missed some things and I'm confused at what I'm hearing now. Dream Warriors is not the worst of the series.
Yes, it is.
No.
But that's just me and Mike Lombardo's
That's what Brian and Mike Lombardo's opinion.
It's
Right. Nathan's on our side, right, Nathan?
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know.
That's actually my second favorite. So yeah.
I think Dream Child.
Edit that out.
Make
Make
it
it
worse.
sound like he's. Are we live?
Yeah, come out of here. These guys are idiots.
Well, we were gonna have him back on
They
the.
like Jason Takes Manhattan and they hate Nightmare 3. I don't know.
Yeah, but wait, which one has the soul pizza? Is that 3 or 4?
That's 4.
That's 4. Okay, yes, the third one is the bad one. Right?
No.
I work in a pizza shop, so that scene really resonates with me. You know?
It speaks to you.
Yeah, every time I kind of customer's pizza, I see the faces of all the customers I've let down.
One of our Facebook viewers, Phil Leon, said Dawkins.
Well, that's
What
that's
happened?
whenever I say the word Dawkins, I follow that with the exact same phrase. I say Dawkins. And then like Alone Again starts playing behind me.
Is that the song that the kid doing karate is listening to? Is that am I getting
That's yeah. I love that song. Anything.
Oh yeah, so my buddy Scott is a band Testosterosa. They cover that song in their live set sometimes. It's glorious.
Testosterosa.
Yeah, Jared.
I'll give you anything. I love that song. And then Vinnie Vincent's
Vincent,
fucking
Oh,
Love
Vinnie
to
Vincent.
Kill.
That's a great song.
That is my favorite song in the entire series because the song itself really represents what the series
Even
is
Touch
about.
Me from Freddy's Revenge. Come on.
Oh, come
Touch
on.
me, baby.
Listen, that's my
Drive
second
me
favorite.
crazy.
Well, wait a minute. Hold on. How many?
Mostly because it's overplayed. Because every morning I wake up, that's my alarm clock, and I have to shut all my cabinet drawers by ass.
How many of these songs are on the official Freddy album? Are any of these on there? His vinyl when he released his LP.
Freddy's rapping.
The Fat Boys. There was one with the Prince and what's it?
Jazzy
First
Jeff.
Prince,
DJ Jazzy Jeff.
Nightmare on My Street.
I think that
oh my god, I forgot
the
about
Fat Boys. The Fat Boys is my favorite out of all the like.
Didn't
the
Houdini do a song
Freddy
too?
rap.
I was a bigger fan of the Will Smith one.
Yeah.
I love that there's a Cool Mo D song in the Nightmare films. It's just him dissing LL Cool J.
I mean, if you think about it, though, LL Cool J is like a really potent metaphor for A Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, I don't really know where I was going with that, but, guys, run with it.
It's totally relevant to the Friday the 13th conversation.
Yep.
Oh, I got something cool to show you guys.
Oh, no. Oh,
His
yeah,
ass
bent right over. His ass.
Check this out. I have a boxed the Freddy makeup kit from
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Oh my god.
a friend
How
of mine,
old is that?
Evan Foster. This is from 1988. And I'll tell you, this makeup, the thing you can do out of this looks better than he did in part 4.
No. That's my favorite makeup. I'm done. I gotta go, guys. You're killing me tonight.
I think we broke away.
We were supposed to talk about Jason.
We are talking about Jason with that claw and all that stuff, right?
Well, Jason was in part 4. He pissed on fire and resurrected Freddy, essentially.
Yeah.
And if you stole his pot of gold, he sent the critters after you.
Oh, Lord. On Easter.
On Easter.
Yeah, Critters 2 is amazing. That's the best Easter movie.
I
ever.
love Critters too.
Finally watched Critters 2. And all I can say is that's my favorite out of the series.
All I can say is welcome to the club, son.
Yeah. Like, the first one, Billy Zane was cool. But, I don't know. I liked when they're in space. But that Critters 2, man, had that oomph that I needed from Critters.
Mhm.
It's just like, and then the big giant ball when they all collected
Robin.
unison.
When did you see that? You just now saw that movie?
Listen, man, my childhood was full of trauma and Full Moon. Like, I'm sorry if I missed the bigger
So was
budget
mine,
movies.
But I still got to see Critters 2.
Yeah.
All right? So you only got to fucking prioritize.
I
Well,
had to
know
ban
what?
one person from the Horror Syndicate today. Now I got to do it again.
Oh, son of a bitch! I'm so sorry, but no, Critters. I watched Critters 4 all the time, and when I was little, I always went by what cover looked the coolest.
Mhm.
And because I wasn't around when the movies came out in like chronological order, because I was born in 1988. So when I started like going to the video store, it was like probably around like 1995, 96 when I was like, oh my god, this title art looks great. I'm going to rent Society
Yes.
at age 6.
That's
And
yeah.
because like the girl like pulling the mask away, that was like really fucking cool. And those are the movies that I rented. Like the Critters, I was like, hey, I saw you on one of the posters on the streets in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when everyone's ordering pizza at the beginning of the movie. Like I just like, I don't know. But
Also, I think, Brian, the Critters 2 cover is the best of the whole series, so you're still wrong. That's
listen,
got the giant critter ball on it.
I saw a critter in space. I turned around, I saw Angela Bassett, and I was like,
But
this
that,
is what I need in my life.
I love Critters 4. 'Cause Critters 4 is really it's a lot darker. It's got that cool later Roger Corman kind of feel to it.
Hmm.
But what I don't understand, it's critters in space. I'm like, they're from space. That's like aliens in space. Like, well, yeah, that's already that's not a thing. They're already there. Like, the fuck? I don't know. It felt kind of redundant to me.
I hear you, but you're right. Critters 2 had the best cover of all of them in unison in a giant critter ball, and I can't believe that I'm so sorry that I watched it later as an adult to talk about it as an adult, but got shut down by Ray.
Well, listen, Brian, just do 20 Hail Marys and go talk to Mother Kruger, and she'll help you repent.
Nice segue, because
Yeah.
it's not Critters Day. It's Freddy the 13th, guys.
Freddy the 13th.
Freddy the 13th.
Speaking of
All right.
cool
So
covers,
this question is for Nathan. Who's better, Mike Myers or Jason Bourne. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to do that to you
Well,
tonight.
who would win in a fight?
Who would win in a fight?
Who would win in a fight?
No, but getting back to really cool covers, Nathan, you do covers, if I'm not mistaken.
A little, yeah.
But now, all right. And I'm not talking music covers, like of like.
Oh yeah.
Or doc. Tell us a little bit about your work with Scream Factory.
I was their first artist back in. They wrote me in 2011. Didn't tell me they were Shout Factory at the time. Just said, "Hey, we're trying to get the rights to Terror Train. Would you be interested in doing a cover?" And I was like, "Yeah, are you serious?" Yeah, because at that time nobody was doing covers. They weren't hiring artists anymore. Everything was photoshopped or photographed. And, it was another year went by until they finally, "Hey, you still interested?" And told me about Scream Factory. They said, "Yeah, we're going to do the sister thing," because they had done the Roger Corman films.
Yeah,
and they sold really well.
Yeah.
And they said Jeff Nelson and Cliff McMillan were big horror fans, and they wanted to do give 80s horror films a proper release, because most of the studios or licensors were just throwing that stuff out with a few trailers on it or something.
Yep.
So he said, "We want to get new features. We want to do new artwork." And so they offered me Terror Train. We worked out the deal. They wrote me the next day and said, "Would you want to do Halloween 2 and 3? I was like, "Are you kidding?" Yes. And then it was
please.
Funhouse. And so Halloween 2 and 3 were the first ones I did. And then I did Terror Train and Funhouse, followed by, Deadly Blessing. And they gave me The Burning and Day of the Dead and The Howling. And
Night of the Demons, right?
Night of the Demons, Night of the Comet, all the sleepaway camps, Shocker, Motel Hell, Dog Soldiers.
Yep.
Matinee was the last one I did, and I just did it. I'm doing a new one right now. I can't say what it is, but
you keep saying that.
A big one, yeah. So yeah, they're great company.
We could chat off air which one it is. Just kidding.
And it led to other work. I did a lot of stuff overseas in France and Germany. I've done like all the Halloween movies over in Germany, and The Crow and Martyrs and Exterminator. And so it's been a cool ride.
What's your favorite cover that you've done?
That's really tough. I always go with Halloween 2 because that was my first one, and I'm a huge fan of that film. So, for them to say, "Hey, you get to do Michael Myers and Dr. Loomis and Laurie Strode on a Blu-ray cover," I was like, "Hey, you're kidding me." And right after it came out, Horror Hound had Jamie Lee Curtis at the show, and I was there. So it just debuted. So it was like this perfect timing where, I went and met Dick Warlock, who I'd met before, but now I'd "Hey, I just did these covers." And he said, "You made me a legend, dude." I'm like, "No, you were a legend way before I did, Yeah. We became really good buddies after that. It was funny. At the end of that show, I had a Halloween 2 shirt on, and he said, "You're a class act, man." He goes, "Hey, let me fuck up your shirt." And he grabbed a Sharpie and signed my chest.
That's awesome.
So essentially, you painted him like one of your French girls.
Yeah, I did. But I've gotten to do a lot of cool stuff like that. And NECA did some, their vintage action figures. That was because I'm a huge Freddy fan, and the Randy Falk, who runs NECA, called me up and said, "Hey, would you be interested in doing the Freddy's Revenge action figure cover?" It's like, are you shitting me?
That's so fucking cool.
Yeah. So, I've been very lucky.
Yeah, we're all big. I mean, I can't speak for everybody else, but I'm a big fan of the cover art that you do, and I'm pretty sure these guys are too. So that's really fucking cool. That's like a dream job, right? To get contact.
Constant dreams coming true, man. It's really I'm still a fan. I'm still a fan like everybody else. So when they say, "Hey, you want to do a, Fright Rag," say, "Hey, you want to do a Friday the 13th shirt or Nightmare on Elm Street shirt or whatever it is they got," or NECA or Scream Factory offers me a title of a film I love. It's you kind of like you pinch me, I get to contribute to that. I get to contribute to a Wes Craven film or a George Romero film. It's just kind of it's just kind of hard to put into words.
Mm-hmm.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you grew up with these movies, and it's gotta be so fucking exciting when you get that phone call. I definitely just to be like a fly on the wall in that moment where you receive a phone call. It's just like, "Hey, would you love to do the art cover for Halloween 2 and 3?" Like, you know, just like to be that fly and just see your expression. Like, did it almost feel like kind of like surreal? Like after you hung up the phone, you're like, I better not fuck this up.
Yeah, you get really scared. Like what was funny is when at the Jamie Lee Curtis show, they announced 6 new titles, and it was The Burning, The Fog, Day of the Dead, The Howling, and Night of the Comet. And I remember telling them, I was like, "Oh, I'd love to do Night of the Comet," because I saw that movie like 1,000 times growing up. And I told him, I was like, I don't even know if I want to touch Day of the Dead because that's just too intimidating to me to do a George Romero film. The fans are going to massacre whoever does that.
No, that's the one that drew me in.
Yeah,
honestly.
that was a big one for me too.
If I can interject, that's my favorite one you've done, man.
I appreciate that. It's one of my favorites, and it was kind of funny because the guy that does the special features, Michael Felsher from Red Shirts, he kind of accidentally told me I got the job for that one. He goes, "Hey, I hear you," because he's a huge Day of the Dead fan, and he goes, "Hey, I hear you're doing the artwork." I'm like, "I am," and he said, "Oh shit!" He goes, "I'm sorry." So at Horror Hound, he came up to me and says, "Dude, you're getting it." I was like, "Cool." So I already started working on covers and ideas, and so when they wrote me and told me I had the job, they wanted me to do the whole cast, like all the survivors and everything. And I had already had that idea. I said, people want to see the zombies, man. They want to see Bub. They want to see, Dr. Tongue and all that stuff. Like, that's what they want to see. That's what I want to see. So I just sent them that script and said, the sketch I'd already done. I was like, how about this? They said, oh, yeah, let's go with that. And for a long time, they said that was their favorite cover that they had done for a while. I don't know if that still stands, but that's what they told me.
Badass, man. So that was my question, actually, was, do they give you an idea of, like, for each cover, do they kind of give you a guideline, or do they let you, at this point, they just let you go wild because they know you're going to kill it?
In the beginning, they would kind of, the art direction, they would get together and they would say, hey, we kind of want this or that or that. And so it would be up to me to kind of build it. It was really, because they've been accused of being the kitchen sink cover crew because people attack because it's got so much shit going on. But that's what they would give me a list and say, hey, we want the burning, and we want Cropsey, and we want cabins, and we want the canoe scene, and we want all this. I'm like, it's a 5x6 square, really, a cover on a Blu-ray. And so I would just start kind of taking liberties with it. They didn't really tell me this is what we want, but they would say, can you have these elements? Then it got less and less. Like, hey, we're doing Night of the Demons. All we're going to tell you is we want Linnea with her lipstick because that's an iconic scene. So, okay. So then after a while, they were just kind of like, just show us what you got. And so
what happened with Sleepaway Camp? Because I saw on your personal Facebook different stages of designing what the cover was going to look like with the cabin. Yeah.
Sleepaway Camp, I had just done Night of the Demons. And both of those are kind of quirky with quirky characters, and they were hoping for something quirky like that with Sleepaway Camp. I think that's why they gave it to me. But my problem with Sleepaway Camp was like, if you take away the horror element, it's like just a camp comedy movie. It's like it could be.
It really is. I never thought about that.
Yeah, like because it's selling a slasher film, but you don't have a slasher to show because you don't want to give it away. The slasher.
Yeah.
So I can't. How do I do that? How do I sell a horror film with just a bunch of teenagers at camp? So I just said I'm just going to go slasher film. So I did the guy. I said, all right. While Angela is the killer, she's also a teenage boy, and it's implied that there's a camp killer, or one of the camp kids are the killer. So I'll just draw a kid in the camp shirt, nondescript, but looks like a teenage boy because it could be Angela, holding weapons over the cabins and over the water. I sent that to them, and they said, "Oh, we were really hoping you'd get the characters in there because they're so quirky characters." And I told them, I was like, "Well, I didn't do that because it's gonna look like a camp movie comedy, And they said, "Well, we'd like to see what you have." So I said, "Okay." So the whole cast, and they're like, "Yeah, you're right." It looks like
you should have just added Bill Murray from Meatballs.
Yeah. So I said, well, said, well, work it around. And then, so in the end, they ended up contacting the director and getting his thoughts. And he said to just have Angela there and lose all the others. And, you know, and the other thing he added was I had drawn her as the final girl look. She was, you know, she looked innocent in the drawing I did. He wanted her to be sinister looking. Like, that's kind of giving it away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I had to put her there, and like when it came out, everybody bitched at me, like, why is Angela's head over the crotch of the guy, the killer? Like, I got attacked from, like, I didn't want it that way, you know. That's what they wanted.
What you should have done is just had like a campfire and then like just do the Maniac cover with like just legs and then like a bulging pants. Like the people
The shorts?
No.
no.
Forget the pants. Just hang dong.
Oh my god.
It's like a night vision green filter and just, you know, just full on. I mean,
I remember they joked in the beginning. I had there was 3 cabins, and the cabin in the middle was on fire, and it was causing the glow on the killer. And like it's happened to be around their crotch. And like, did you do that on purpose? Like it's fire crotch or something? No, I was just doing a campfire thing. But it's fun. It's, you know, the new one I just did. I can't give away what it is, but yeah, I sent. It's something that has already, the covers that have come out have already kind of looked like Scream Factory covers, so we want to move away from that. And then there's like tons of fan art out there for this movie, and I just went. So I looked at everything and I came up with it, and they thankfully said, "That's beautiful and very original. We didn't know what you were going to do." So they had like one little minor note for me. But other than that, yeah, I can't wait for that one.
Is it a horror film?
It's a horror film, yeah.
cool. It's Critters 2. Let's just
Cat's out of the bag.
There's so much Critters 2 artwork, fan art out there.
So how did you get started?
Big site, lots of fan art.
How did you get started in being an illustrator and you know, of course, becoming a professional artist later on? You know, what were your inspirations becoming, you know, deciding that this is a field that you want to do, and so forth?
Well, I've been drawing since I was 5. Just drew all the time and drew whatever I was into. I was born in '76, so I was there when Star Wars and Indiana Jones and G.I. Joe and Transformers and all that shit started to happen. So I just drew a lot of that stuff. And in '88, I started getting really big into horror. So I started drawing Jason and Freddy. But then in '89, Batman came out.
Yeah.
And Batman made me a big comic book fan. So I started concentrating on becoming a comic book writer and artist. And I did that for years. And that's where I really started. I self-published a bunch of comic books in the early 2000s. And then I walked into a Borders and bought Horror Hound magazine, and I wrote them a message because I really liked their magazine. It was really great. And they had me as their fan artist for a couple of years, and then after like 2008, they gave me a job, and that's kind of where it all started. I kind of started doing the covers, and I did, I don't know, like 30 issues of Horror Hound, and that's how I think Scream Factory found me, and that's how Scream Factory kind of changed it all. Like I think that's where Scream Factory saw me. Because I had done an ad that had the Terror Train killer on it, and they were trying to get Terror Train.
Nice.
And I think that's where it all snowballed. And then once Scream Factory dropped, you know, the phone never stopped ringing, kind of thing. It was kind of snowball effect.
That is so fucking cool, man. You're literally living like every horror fan's dream. That is so fucking awesome.
It's crazy. It's you know, take even you know, the people we get to work with, like Sasa Jensen. I've worked with him on some projects through our meetings, and you know, Ken. We talked about Kincaid. You know, Ken Sagos and I are friends, and like he does children's books, and I did a cover for one of his children's books. You never know. I mean, it's just kind of wild how, you know, Dick.
Did he say, "Fuck you"? You sit down.
What's that?
Ken Sagos. Never mind.
Okay. Oh yeah.
You sit down. Sorry.
He's the sweetest guy in the world. I don't know if you've met him, but
no, I haven't. I want to.
He's a sweetheart. And everything he does, he shows, and he has this foundation called Give Back, where he helps pay for like inner city kids to do things, and then all the money he makes at conventions, he gives to this organization that he's created to help out kids like
That's
that.
awesome.
He's tried to make movies and have these kids get involved, and just a really good dude.
Hopefully he'll be at Horror Hound this year. They announced at Indy they're going to have Robert Englund there, so hoping for a Dream Master reunion. This is 30 years later.
Yeah.
He's on my list, my big list of people.
I'm hoping for a Dream Warriors reunion, personally.
Yeah, you and me, Mike, we'll be sitting in the
Finally get my VHS signed by everybody.
I can't believe you guys.
Me and Mike are gonna we're gonna watch Jason Goes to Hell at the same time. We're gonna share it.
That's slated for tonight to watch Jason Goes to Hell because it's Friday the 13th, and that is the final Friday.
But this is the final Friday of this show.
That's what I never understood, because it's called Jason Goes to Hell Final Friday, but then there's that movie next Friday, and I rented that, and like Jason's barely even in it. I was like, okay, Jason Goes to Hell. Like, he's not really in it, but no one complained about that. I don't see any frustration about that.
So
Jason was great, but yeah, Jason was hardly in it.
So we talk a lot about horror movies that we grew up with, especially a lot of 80s horror, and I know I going by a lot of the Facebook posts, Nathan, you and us here at the Horror Syndicate, we kind of like see eye to eye with Ray, Jared, Mike, and myself.
Except for Dream Warriors, apparently.
Except for Dream Warriors, apparently.
Accounting for taste, Ray.
With modern movies, and I know that you said that there is no such thing as a terrible movie, and
I never said that.
I was just trying to
hate a movie.
I was trying to play with you there. But we some of the topics come up like now there's this whole new thing on Facebook where they're saying this movie is so scary that people cannot finish watching it.
Yeah.
Now you see something like that, and I know you had a pretty cool post where it was like everything was in caps locks, because I guess you were angry, and it was about like.
No, I don't get angry. I'm just trying to play.
Devil's advocate.
Listen to this.
Yeah, devil's advocate. There you
go.
So
what is your perspective on modern horror? And a lot of people comparing like new movies as the 80s throwback, when really, do you think it's just like kind of like a selling point that
Absolutely. I'm sorry. I think it is. It's got to be a
selling point to say my movie's an 80s throwback thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the problem is, and what was it? I was just watching the Camp Crystal Lake Memories thing yesterday, just to kind of get a little more perspective on that. And Sean Cunningham had said something about the imitators of Friday the 13th, and how he goes, the problem was everybody was imitating my mistakes rather than what I got right. And I think that's what I see a lot. I see a lot of people saying, oh, this is a throwback to the 80s, but they're like taking the shitty things about the 80s.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh, this is intentionally bad because it's supposed to be like the 80s. And like, this isn't, like, there were really good films and really good things made in the 80s. Why don't you make a film, take those things and make this film? Don't excuse your bad filmmaking because you're like, oh, I'm homaging shitty 80s films.
I'm gonna throw some boobs in there because it's an 80s throwback.
Yeah.
The thing that bothers me about a lot of those like 80s throwback things is when people are, you're right, when they're imitating, like, I grew up watching Friday the 13th, so I'm gonna make a bad slasher movie.
Yeah.
Like, you don't I mean, Friday the 13th is not the best example, but it's like, what they should be doing is, if you like a director like John Carpenter or Wes Craven, or I'll just throw David Cronenberg, you should go and find what influenced them, because then you'll actually find the heart of what made those movies, because that's an assemblage of all of their unique interests that may not necessarily just be copying a movie or a particular thing.
Yeah.
And you get a lot of cookie cutter movies because of that. And it's like, I've already seen all the cheesy slasher movies and shit. Like, I don't need more of that. Like, do something original. Kick off a new franchise that's going to get imitated to hell 15 years from now.
Yeah, like you said, you find the things that made those films work, and you're not copycatting it. You're taking the craft, the intelligence, and what their thought processes and their inspirations, like you said, and you're building off of that. You're not just saying, oh, I'm going to make a scene like this from Halloween, and I'm going to You know, and then you see that a lot. You just say, hey, I gotta. You see a lot of people like, hey, I got a cool mask in a warehouse. Let's make a horror movie.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like that's not how you make horror movies. That's not how you make good movies. You know, you gotta understand the history, like you said, and that's I think that's the problem. Like, you know, like I enjoy the Friday the 13th movies, but they aren't the greatest films ever made. But people hold them up there like they are, and it's like. And you'll see like incredibly well-made films come out today where people just shit all over them while they're loving Critters 1 or whatever. Like they're like, that's the greatest movie ever made, but this witch movie is a piece of shit. Like,
oh my god,
not really, but okay. And The Quiet Place is getting all the shit right now, and it's like that's a great film. It's a great practice in suspense and. I just think that people need to get off the 80s dick. I grew up in it, but it's like they were great movies, and they're some of my favorites. But you got to take those those glasses off that are blinders and say, hey, there were bad movies then too, and there are bad movies now. But there's also a lot of great stuff if you give it a chance. And I don't think people are giving things a chance anymore. I think they're just so stuck in their ways, or they attach on to all the troll things. Like everybody wants, it's nothing but remakes, even though there haven't been that many remakes in the last 5 years.
Nobody
like I counted, like people were shitting, like somebody, I think it was 2015, there was like one remake that year. And everybody, oh, it's nothing but remakes. I'm like, there's like 250, 300 horror movies came out this year, and there's one remake. You can't use those statements annoying. They're all found footage movies. No, they're not. There's so many movies out there being made.
It's really annoying too when those people also complain. They're like, every like the movies that they're defending, and it's like if Friday the 13th has like 13 movies in the franchise, like it was like they hold these movies on such a pedestal, and it's like they were created by soulless corporate execs to make money. That's what they. That's
exactly.
It's like
if you haven't seen
my art.
Thank you, Frank Mancuso Jr.
In Vimes of Blood Horror Stories, I play a part, a hater, and I'm playing those guys. And there's a fake Friday the 13th movie series in the Vimes of Blood world called Murder, Death, Killer, and it's basically Friday the 13th. And there's a part where me and him are bitching, and I'm like defending and like, oh, those movies had heart, man. They made them for love. They weren't cash grabs. And they goes, they made 10 of them. That's the definition of cash grab. Because people talk about, oh, man, that movie sucks. It's just a cash grab. I'm like, dude, Victor Miller said, Sean Cunningham came to me and said, hey, Halloween made a lot of money. I bet we could do that all. That's the definition of a cash grab. Yeah. And then they made 8 movies in a decade. That's a cash grab, dude. They weren't making Friday, like every time, oh, this is going to be the last one. No, this is going to be the last one. Hey, there's more money to be made. No, this will be the last one.
And then they remake it, and then they go sequels off of that, too.
Yeah.
So, like, don't step away from the fandom for a minute and realize, because I could step away from the Nightmare films as much as I love them and say, yeah, you're right, that sucks. That's bad. That's bad acting.
There's a lot of, Nightmare on Elm Street 3s out there. Let's just...
No,
you love them, and that's cool, but like give people a chance. People say now, hey, there's no classics being made. Bullshit. Every day, every horror movie is some kid's first horror movie. I ran into people who are like, Halloween Resurrection is my favorite movie. I'm like,
nice.
When did you see that? Oh, that was the first one I saw. I was like, oh, there you go. Nobody saw it the first time. So all these movies, people are like, oh, there's no classics. There's no Back to the Futures and no Star Wars. I'm like, dude, there's kids growing up on all these Marvel movies. Those are their Star Wars movies. There's kids growing up on the Harry Potter movies and the Lord of the Rings movies.
That's very true.
Yeah, and
go ahead. They're just people are full that just have egos about what they love, and they're not open to anything else. And I'm like, it kind of drives me nuts. I'm like, I hope my feeling is that I hope they don't influence their children to not give those movies a chance or love. Because, we look up to our parents. If my dad had told me Star Wars was a piece of shit when I was a kid, I may not have liked Star Wars.
Yeah.
Or Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th. But he didn't. So I hope that when parents hate these movies, they don't spread that shit to their kids and let their kids judge for themselves. Because I think that's a big problem.
No,
You
my
know,
son
thinking
hated-
back on what you're saying, Nathan, I think nostalgia goes a long way with some of these people.
It does.
Oh, it all for all of us. I mean, there's so many things. Like so many of my favorite movies I know are bad movies. I don't care, but I know if they came out today, they wouldn't have a chance in hell.
No,
Like
absolutely.
what? Like what?
The way I see it is all of these movies that people just refuse to watch or give a chance to. Because in the horror community, especially, they'll be like an indie movie, they're like, fuck that movie, I'm not watching this. And it's like, if you had that attitude 15 years ago, you never would have seen any of the movies that you have tattooed all over you now.
Exactly.
Like, you have to be open-minded at some point, and especially if you just only ingest Friday the 13th, then stop, and it's like, that's it, it's all I'm ever going to watch. It's like, I feel real bad for you. You know, there's a lot of
every generation, like, you know, the monster kids of the 50s and the 60s, they looked at the slasher movies as garbage, and they weren't totally wrong. So, like, all of us are looking at, all our slasher kids are looking at the paranormal, supernatural stuff and go, oh, that's all shit. Like, but there's a whole generation who loves that stuff, who's loving Insidious and who loves The Conjuring and Annabelle, and they're not wrong for loving it. And, you know, we got to get out of our own asses and say, hey, you know, it's not for us. They're not making those for us, because horror films were always targeted towards teenagers and young people anyway.
True.
So, you know, of course you don't, you know, people are like, oh, I didn't like any of the characters. Of course you didn't. You're 40. You're not supposed to like teenagers.
Dude, Nathan, no bullshit. You just changed my mind about what I think of modern horror. Like, I shit you not, I never actually thought about it in that light. Like, thank you for that. Seriously.
Well, he changed your mind on Dream Warriors.
Dream Warriors.
That's another podcast right there. But seriously, I never really thought about it generationally, because when I grew up, I watched a lot of movies I watched a lot of David Cronenberg and stuff. Like, I was watching David Lynch movies. I didn't just watch Friday the 13th. I watched stuff that much older people were into. Yeah. So I never had that, like, blind affection for slasher movies. But I never thought about it that way. It's like, yeah, Insidious might be Saw might be their first horror movie. And if that's the gateway drug, if they're going back and looking at older stuff, and, you know, if they're doing their research and understanding horror history, then I think that's really cool. So that's really awesome way of looking at it.
Well, I always think, you know, these true horror fans, they want to beat up on everybody. And it's like, dude, you should just encourage kids. Like, if they're in Insidious, say, hey, have you seen Poltergeist? Have you seen Amityville Horror? Have you seen... And encourage them. Don't say, well, you're not a real horror fan. You're a bullshit horror fan. I'm a real horror fan because I like it. Oh, I'm just old school, man. It's like,
well, but if those kids,
yourself.
If I tell them to watch like Poltergeist or something or Amityville Horror, they're like, oh, that's old. Then I'll choke them to death.
And, you know, at the same time, like when I was 15, you know, that was like the equivalent of people saying, hey, you know, you shouldn't watch Friday the 13th. You should watch Invasion of the Body Snatchers instead. It's like, I like that movie, but like, it's a whole different generational thing. Like I like it's like night and day between, like, you know, watching the original Thing and John Carpenter's Thing.
Yeah.
So you get it. It's like, okay, it hurts to hear, oh, Exorcist is lame, dude. That's so boring. It's not scary.
I agree.
The Exorcism of Emily Rose, I think, was a much better movie. Let's just.
They've seen these movies be ripped off so much that when they see them, it doesn't have the effect it had on us.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
One of the worst things I hear is that The Exorcist has aged poorly, and it drives me up a fucking wall. And
I don't think it has. I still adore that movie.
I think it's
maybe they just don't understand it. You know,
it's definitely the third masturbation I've ever seen on film.
But, you know, it's funny you mentioned earlier about like people hating The Witch, and I think that, you know, modern horror movies like The Witch, It Comes at Night are important. You know, and it's important for, you know, younger generations to see these movies and not listen to what, you know, their older siblings or their parents have to say about these movies. Like, these movies are here and for them to watch. And I'm not suggesting kids should go out and see The Witch or like anytime soon like that. But I was in the theater with my wife and we saw The Witch during opening night. And people expected this movie that had like all these jump scares and about witches, and people were gonna get like spells casted on them and like murder and all this shit. And it was just this really fucking smart, depressing dark movie, and at the end you're just like you're out of your comfort zone, and it's kind of like a happy ending because like you're like, okay, she was the witch the entire time, and now she's found her place in life because her place at home wasn't necessarily the thing that was making her happy. And it was all because of what her parents forced on it. And like people in the audience after the movie was over were like, "Fuck this movie!" They're like, Paranormal Activity is way better than this shit. And I'm just like, man, my wife and I were just sitting in the theater like, this movie was really good.
Yeah,
like, how are we talking about it?
It's a certain kind of audience that can sit and watch like a slow burn period piece, almost art house movie like that. I don't think that was necessarily a movie that really would be a great theater going experience as opposed to just sitting at home and finding it. I think it just plays that way.
It's a hard sell, but you get to these people who it's either there's gotten this belief now that if it's not brutal and violent and gory, then it's not horror.
Yeah, or if it's not even scary.
That's
like,
not what it's about.
Like the Babadook was another one that pissed me off. That people were like, "This is
I
so."
love that movie.
I liked it, man.
I love that movie.
That movie's about grief. It's about dealing with grief.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant movie. And they're like, it's not even scary. I'm like, yeah, wait till you lose somebody and then watch it again.
Right. It's scary on a real life level.
Yeah. Just because
movies that bother me and scare me and disturb me now aren't usually horror films. Something like the Babadook, but like movies about child loss and things like that are that's what hits you hard. And like so I hate that one. It wasn't scary. Well, I've been watching horror films for over 30 years now, and nothing's really going to scare me. It takes a
right.
It doesn't have to be scary.
Yeah. Watch it because for me, I always liked horror movies. Even as a kid, it didn't scare me. I liked them because of the creativity and like the cool monsters, the effects, and just the storytelling that they were able to do. You can deal with so much stuff in a horror film that you can't touch in any other genre, and you can so seamlessly blend every other genre into horror, but you can't necessarily do that with a different genre.
Yeah. I always look at it like Eddie Murphy talked about how he doesn't laugh anymore when he sees something funny or hears something funny. He just kind of nods and go, "That's funny." I always say that's how horror fans are. We've seen so much of it, but we should be able to recognize when it's being done well. And that's how I look at it. Like when I see a film, even if it doesn't scare me, I know they're doing it right. They're hitting everything right. They know what they're doing. And somebody in those audiences are screaming their asses off. I'm just too I know what's coming. I know how it works. But the common goer, that's who they're scaring the shit out of. So like you may not be scared, but that there's some people in the audience who are scared, like who are traumatized by it. So
it's like it's like being on a roller coaster that you've ridden 20 times before. It's still fun. You know what to expect, but it's still fun. And it's I never really watch stuff to be scared. Like it make me these days. It's like make me think, make me feel something when the credits roll, and then you got me. Like it goes so much further than something jumping out, or a cell phone ringing next to your ear. Well, actually, that's if you go to the movie and see it in the theater, you'll hear a cell phone ring on next to your ear.
Yeah, I always said like when I was young, I was all about the taboo stuff, like seeing the tits and the gore and the violence and all the stuff we weren't supposed to be seeing at that age. But as I got older, like you're talking about, it was more about the psychology and what's going on with
why are those
conditions. Yeah.
I can't watch Pet Sematary as a father. It's just one of those movies that just sticks with me. And I watched a documentary last night.
Dude,
it was really good. Hearing about how like Miko Hughes, like he only has like snap photograph like memories of like everything that happened when they were filming that movie.
He was like 3 years old when he filmed that.
And his performance was flawless. He wasn't even a twin. This was all him. And he had a great career as a child. And
he wasn't even a twin.
Well, the sister was. The older,
Blaze Birdall and her sister,
Yeah, but because of child labor laws, it's like I mean, you got like almost every one of us here has been on a film shoot. Like film shoots last more than 8 hours. It's not like a 8-hour deal and then you're done. I mean, 8 hours is up. The kid's got to go, and you bring out the twin who's been like sitting at home all day, or because
it's like
really fucked up.
Then you bring out the twin.
Yeah. So, like Miko Hughes did an amazing job, and just hearing about like all the stuff that went into that movie about how like Stephen King wanted it to be shot in Maine, and Mary Lambert was just like, I want to do this in Maine, and like it was a big deal for the people who lived in that town in Maine to have Pet Cemetery shot there. But like I was saying, it's like, you know, it was easier for me to watch the documentary on Pet Cemetery because it reminds you that this movie is not real. None of it happened. It was a story based on something that didn't happen. Stephen King saved his kid before his kid was hit by a car, but he had that fear of what happened if his child was hit and struck by a vehicle and died. And they even mentioned that he put the book away because he didn't think anyone would want to read it because of how dark it was. And when I was a kid, when I first watched Pet Cemetery, I loved it. I thought it was great. I loved the soundtrack. I loved when Gage came back as the undead. You know, it was really cool to see that, and it was really cool like how like the Pet Cemetery was just like the short story The Monkey's Paw, which I think Stephen King actually based it off of. And you know, it's just like, you know, testing you know, the humanity, and don't ever try to change fate is pretty much what the story was talking about. But for me as an adult, like with a kid, the last thing I want to see is the parent losing control for that 5 or 10 seconds, and then your child is just gone, just like that, right in front of you because you weren't quick enough. And you know, that's the hardest part about Pet Cemetery. But I could watch The Exorcist at 3 a.m. and not give a shit. I could watch any scary movie that you throw at me, but if it has to do with like kids or like any of like, you know, children violently dying, I can't watch it. It's just
but remember, your daughter's gonna grow up to be Reagan's age someday.
That's true.
True.
Well, that's fine. At least she can talk to me. Like I don't want to miss out on those years of like, you know, like having conversations and like watching her grow up into like a young adult.
Yeah.
But
I'm not a parent, but that special moment when your daughter says your mother sucks cocks in hell, really a special time.
well, the minute I see something where there's masturbation with a crucifix in the bedroom, I'm not just going to call a priest. I'm going to call a
in the living
shrink.
room, it's okay, right?
Yeah, I won't even know how to deal with it. I'll just probably, the first thing I'll say is stop doing that. But no, you're right. Like, you know, horror can be different for anyone. Horror, like, you know, you watch a horror movie and it can be different for you compared to the guy who's sitting next to you because you don't know what your emotional attachment
Did you ever
is.
see Terror in the Isles?
Oh yeah.
The documentary, they kind of go over stuff like that, and it's a documentary from 1983 hosted by Donald Pleasance and Nancy Allen. Brian, you're talking about exactly what they were talking about. It's almost to the T.
It relates differently to everybody.
It does. It really does.
For people like us that have been watching horror films for years, honestly, like nowadays, it's what has the lasting effect.
Yeah.
It's what actually gets under my skin. Like, don't scare me, make me feel something. And
Yeah.
you know, like Pet Cemetery, I'm not even a parent, but that shit fucks me up. Like when I watch that scene with the truck like that, it feels like I got punched in the stomach every time I see that. I got nephews, you know, it's like that freaks me the fuck out. And when I was a kid, I thought that scene was hilarious, and I watch it now and I'm like catatonic. It's a very different feeling.
And you know, the hardest part about that scene is when he's just like right when it happens, when Gage gets hit by the car, he just like it goes to like a photographic memory of him holding Gage as a newborn. Yeah. And it was just like, oh my God, I don't want to see that image.
Kind of a slap to the nuts.
Yeah, it was a huge slap. I can't watch the movie, but I love it. And that's not going to stop me from saying that I think it's the second best Stephen King adaptation. First being The Shining, of course.
I thought you were going to say Maximum Overdrive.
That's my third favorite. Because any movie where Stephen King is on coke, I am behind it 100%.
Dude, Silver Bullet. It's like the third best movie about a crippled kid in a wheelchair fighting a werewolf.
That's not nice to say that about Gary Busey.
I mean, if Cool Runnings was a little bit shorter, I'd say that's the number one. But it doesn't. So I'm gonna go with Silver Bullet. But
What's the hardest movie for you to watch, Nathan?
Oh wow.
Critters 2?
Critters 2 is pretty rough.
I meant to say
actually, there was a movie that bothered me even before I was a father. That Kiefer Sutherland, Sally Field movie, Eye for an Eye.
Oh my god,
where
that movie is amazing.
He murders her daughter on the phone, and she's hearing it, and she's like in a traffic jam and can't get home. It's just so to imagine that you're hearing your child being murdered on the phone and you can't get to them.
Yeah.
That bothers me bad. And there was a movie, I don't remember the name of it. It had the kid who played John Connor on the Terminator series.
Okay.
And his
Thomas Decker?
Yeah, Thomas Decker. He takes his kid out, like a 3 or 4 year old, and they're going to walk around in the snow, and he ends up. The boy falls asleep on the way out there, so he leaves him in the truck, and he goes walking around looking. He's out in the wilderness and looking at the snow, and then he goes back, and the kid's woken up and walked away and walked out into the snow, and he's looking for him. He can't find him, so there's like a manhunt, and they find the boy dead, frozen to death. He froze to death out there in the cold, and I had to turn it off. I couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
Like, I can't watch this movie. So that's the stuff. People say, "Oh, that movie didn't scare me." I was like, that's the kind of stuff that I can't sit there. I can't, I can sit there all the gore and all the other garbage, but that when it hits you that personal, it's not something you don't want to imagine or even go to.
Well, what you were saying about Eye for an Eye with how terrible it'd be to hear your child get murdered on the phone. I mean, the takeaway from that is nowadays they'd be FaceTiming you while it happens, so you could definitely see it.
You can see it.
So I think it's, if anything, it's better. Maybe we should remake that movie and have that with FaceTime instead.
There you go.
It's kind of like, Scream had a little moment like that where, Casey's like right there where her parents are there. You can't yell to them. That hit me when I saw Scream. I was like, her parents are right there. She can't scream. She can't.
Yeah.
That may have been the exact same thing I said. Her parents are right there.
Yeah, I think Eye for an Eye was like the first time I hated Kiefer Sutherland, like in a movie.
Freeway?
Oh my god.
Oh, Freeway's great.
Yeah.
Freeway is amazing when he plays a pedophile. It's like a Riding Hood, but on the freeway with Boone and Kiefer Sutherland.
And he gets
Who was it? Reese Witherspoon. That was
Reese
it?
Witherspoon. Yeah.
Yeah. Big
That's
bad
good.
wolf.
That's not all it did, Grandma.
But yeah. I mean, like Eye for an Eye was like that first movie where, like, and I've seen like Kiefer Sutherland play like bad guys before. I've seen him play good guys before, like the movie The Vanishing, and
movie.
it's,
The original is one of my favorites, The Vanishing.
Yeah.
And I've seen him play gay vampires, like in Lost
See him play vampires and poltergeists. Right? Is that what you said?
Maggots you're eating, Brian.
Okay. I thought you said he played gay vampires and poltergeists. I was like, are we saying this? Are we seeing the same movies here? But no, it was like the first time I hated him, and like, it really showed like Kiefer Sutherland, like, stepping aside away from like the Southern legacy. Try saying that 5 times fast. And it's just, seeing him come out on his own, kind of like seeing a Nick Cage performance, even though his last name is Coppola. But no, I'm kidding. I love that movie, Eye for an Eye, and you're absolutely right. It is a hard movie to watch, but she does get revenge on him at the end, of course.
And they gave the poor girl a stutter too to make it even more sympathetic. It's like, God, could you make the victim more sympathetic?
You know what movie kind of fucks me up now, and this is really weird. Not really a horror movie, but Bubba Hotep, like seeing the opening scene in the nursing home, because I had my grandparents and my grandmother right now has dementia and is in a nursing home, and like I watched that movie and it just rips me up because you see just how fucking sad and depressing.
Totally changes the effect.
Yeah, it's like, I used to watch that movie and like, it was a laugh riot. Now I'm just like, oh my god, my heart.
There's strange ratting on the shithouse walls, man.
It's a big bitch rat.
My favorite line in that movie is that old woman. She's like, "I'll get you, cockroach." Every syllable word. I love it.
So we covered like 1 or 2 Friday movies.
Yeah, right.
I was actually gonna try to segue us back into it.
I actually have to check out, guys. I gotta actually get going, but
Well, before you go, Nathan, which is your favorite? Is it Friday or next Friday?
I'm a big Mike Epps fan, so he was. No, I don't know. I like the second one. I think.
Is that the one
What about the Friday after next? There's 3 of them.
Huh?
Is that the one where he's got the sack on his head?
Who? Which one?
In the
Mike
second-
Epps.
Mike
Yes,
Epps.
he has a
Mike
do-rag on
Epps,
his
he's got
head.
the sack on his head. Oh yeah, Mike Epps. He's got the sack on his head, and he yeah, and Amy
Got them
Steele.
20s.
Yeah.
Steals his weed.
Him and Freddie Mercury are on the porch and they're going, "Damn!" Right? But Nathan, no, it was a blast having you on the show tonight. I really do appreciate it, as well as the rest of us coming out. Jared has one more thing to say, and I'm going to ask you, where can we find you?
The 13th show. What was your favorite kill of the franchise?
Oh man, I really like Part 4. Had some really cool stuff. I really like. It's kind of a tie between. As a filmmaker, I really love the girl who gets killed on the bike, where the camera goes past her, and you see her the shadow of her being impaled on the house.
Yeah.
I just really love that. It's like as a choice, as a director's choice. But I also love when the guy's getting killed in the basement. He's screaming, "I can't! He's killing me! He's killing me!"
Rob.
It's terrifying. That's another thing. Like I remember hearing when I saw that when I was a kid, that chilled me to hear him screaming, "He's killing me!" Someone be aware that they're dying and stop it.
It's like a 911 call.
Yeah.
Plus, he was like the big tough guy too.
Yeah, he's a big tough one. He's, "Oh my God, he's killing me!" Like his vulnerability, and that he realizes that he's dying. He's going to die, and to be saying that, we don't even have to see it. So that, and I always really like the scene in 7 with the girl in the shed because I thought it was really creepy. She's looking through the boards and sees Jason look right at her, and
A little touch up my ass.
Never go to his kill shack. It's a bad place to be.
Yeah, that's where he gets all his weapons.
All right. Well, thank you, Nathan, for joining us tonight. Where can our viewers follow you or find your work in the future?
Facebook's probably the best, even though nobody's on Facebook anymore and can't see anything. But I'm on Facebook as Nathan Thomas Milliner, and it's been a blast. I'm glad you guys have me. When Ray mentioned doing a nightmare show, we can do the nightmare show and talk about Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Definitely. I can't wait to talk about Dream Warriors, being garbage compared to Jason Takes Manhattan again.
Yeah.
Brian and Mike could not be on that show.
If you follow Brian's page, you'll be as confused as I am too. So he likes the weirdest stuff. I'm just throw that out there.
I am a pure mix of Here Comes Honey Boo Boo meets Serbian film. So you'll find everything.
It's an enigma wrapped in a riddle.
There you go.
Oh, it's the other way around.
Yes.
Good night, guys.
Yeah, good night. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right. So,
So can I ask you guys now? And we've probably already
Yeah.
touched on it before. Like, what's your guys' favorite kill of the franchise?
Sheriff Garris and Jason Lives.
Ooh,
When he gets bit in half. Yeah, that and talking to my brother-in-law about it, Jake, we were talking about how he's the most competent character in the entire series, possibly other than Tommy. Even though Tommy, as I've said before, is responsible for anyone who dies past part 6. From the moment he's resurrected all the way through 7 and 8, Tommy's responsible for their lives. Their blood is on his hand. So I think Sheriff Garris is the most competent character, and it affected me the most because he was awesome. I loved him.
Ray, you just gave me the best fucking idea for how we're going to sequelize Friday the 13th to the new one. Tommy Jarvis offered himself to be cryogenically frozen alongside of Jason at the Crystal Lake Research Facility just in case he thawed out in the future. They fucking find him. They teleport him above the Grendel 2 which is coming to Earth, or I'm sorry, Earth 2, because Gretel's,
Earth 2.
and he fights him in the future. And
so
then
we're talking Jason XX.
Yes. So it's gonna be Jason XXX
Or Jason XL.
Oh, even better, because that shows people it's gonna be bigger than the others. But it's like we can have this whole tragic backstory about how he gave up his life. Jason really did take his whole life. He had kids with the girl from part 6, maybe, and he had to miss them growing up and potentially masturbating with a crucifix because he had a mission. So, damn, Ray, beautiful bastard, you just made the Jason X sequel. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I mean that's what I've been envisioning my entire life. My goal growing up was to meet the Jason X sequel, even though there was no Jason X when I was growing up.
So what I knew to be
Takes Manhattan, where he fights a chud at the end of it. Like
that should have happened. Why didn't that happen?
Right?
Let's start crossing over everything. Jason takes the chud.
Ooh, well, Chud would take Jason. Let's be honest here. I mean, come on.
Well, I mean, the chuds would over because there's multiple chud. You know, is it chuds or chud? Is it the multiple chud?
I think chud is plural as well.
Okay,
I mean, now if Jason were to encounter the butt of chud, I don't think Jason would stand a chance.
I don't think so either. She's too cute.
Yeah, he would just look and he's just like, I got nothing. And he just hits himself in the head with an axe. He's like, let's just end this movie right now.
Goes to New York and starts doing heroin.
Yeah, that's what he takes. He takes the heroin needle out of that gang leader, and then he shoots out with it, mixed with his blood. Or he goes to the diner, like, you know, he just goes, and then it says like, who do I got to kill for a short stack? And
so is there like is it going to be like an ongoing thing, Jason, where like whenever you touch toxic waste, you turn to a naked child? Like can we stop doing that?
You get a couple of drinks in me, and I'll turn it to that. There's a shot at the bar called Toxic Waste, and every time I always end up laying on the ground naked.
Later on tonight, Mike Lombardo is going to get drunk and turn into a naked child.
I'm going to take Manhattan.
So who else wants to weigh in on their favorite kill?
So my favorite kill is so me and Brian were talking about, or me and Jared were talking about this earlier. The flare to the down the throat in part 5 is no one ever talks about that. That's
that's a good one.
That's really fucking horrific if you think about it. That's probably one of the ugliest kills I think they've ever done. But I'd have to say between that and then Jason Goes to Hell, the girl getting split in half in the tent. That was a good one, and that's tied with the hacksaw to the throat in part 4, where his head twists off.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of the best executed death scenes in the whole franchise.
Yeah, go ahead.
My obviously favorite is Ray already knows is the nitroglycerin face slam from Jason X.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, that's so fucking good.
We're gonna have in Jason XL, we're gonna have a nitroglycerin. I can't even say it.
No, he's gonna take a whole nitroglycerin and he's gonna break it open and cover them and then he's gonna shatter them entirely.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
That's where I was actually going.
Yes.
I just couldn't say the fucking word.
Nitroglycerin.
Plus, I got some banging going on outside my window here.
Oh my gosh.
Well, it's Friday the 13th for another 2 hours. If they're banging out there, it's your duty to kill them.
If it's the video game, you better jump out the fucking window.
Yep.
Windows 95 or whatever. That
the best kill, if you look at read the books, the Jason strain. There's a scene. I think I told this to you guys before, but where there's a girl who's surfing and a great white shark's about to kill her, and Jason is in the ocean, and he grabs the shark, rips its lower jaw off, and then the girl is like, "Oh my god, he saved me!" And he slices her in half from shoulder to hip with the lower jaw of a great white shark. It is the greatest thing I've ever read in my life. It's so fucking ridiculous.
I think my favorite kill is the deleted tent death or sleeping bag death scene. Not the one from the movie itself, but the deleted one where he slams the girl up against the tree 5 or 6 times, and you just see blood pouring.
Yeah.
But that scene's deleted, and that's why Friday the 13th Part 7 is the worst of the series. So I'm going to have to go with the I don't know. I definitely love Crispin Glover's
Ted, where'd you put the corkscrew?
death scene.
That's another really ugly death. That movie was really, really fucking nasty.
Yeah. Like when he gets, the corkscrew through the hand, machete to the face, and then he's just hanging in the doorway and like kind of like, up like backwards crucified. And Trish like makes like, the conscious decision to not go through his body, but through another way out of the house, where Jason Voorhees is a complete completely disrespectful to a dead body, and just kind of just takes him off the doorway. And he
was upset that she didn't appreciate his handiwork. He's like, I guess I'll just fucking tear him down then. Christ.
Yeah, he's like, fuck this. Completely disrespectful. You don't see Jason overkilling dead bodies. You just see him like killing them and just getting done with it. He never like picks up a dead body and just like as insult to injury. I think that's the only time we see it.
That would be a necromantic film if that were going to happen.
He starts bagging it. Like, what's he doing? That's why he kept his mom tight.
If you guys didn't see, Lonnie, our Jason Part 4 mask winner, he said his favorite kill, Part 6, when Jason forces the sheriff to do yoga. So he likes the same one I do.
Well, so then it's fate that they won the mask, because that definitely is one of the best.
Well, it was rigged, I made sure Lonnie won. Gonna throw that out there. Anyway, moving on.
So yeah, I that's it for me.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know about you guys.
That's why.
Jared
What?
froze again.
Jared froze.
No, Jared freeze. I thought that was the end of him. It was going to be the credits then. He froze.
What'd you say,
Am I still
Jared?
here?
Jared Letourneau. Then the little backstory about like what he did after the show.
Yeah. I'm glad I froze because it wasn't funny.
But if you guys have anything else you want to add,
Friday the 13th wise or in general?
anything, because
Yeah, I would like to talk about. We're going to be releasing a Horror Syndicate T-shirt. Right, I just did the design. Did you guys like the design?
love it.
Is that the picture you sent me earlier?
No, that was my penis.
I
No,
went that across my chest too, but
yeah, no, yeah, the one with all the turds coming out of the mouth and.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I'm getting a tattoo of your penis on my penis.
But yeah, we're I think it's on my Facebook anyway. But I'll post the picture of what the T-shirt design is gonna look like, and then we're gonna be doing a it's like a fundraiser drive. Essentially, is what it is. It's a booster campaign fundraiser. Actually, I don't think it's booster anymore, but we're gonna sell them T-shirts for like $15-16 to try to raise money to, one, pay for the site, two, to get Mike Lombardo here to hang out with us. No,
I'm an underprivileged youth, and I
Yeah.
need help getting out there.
well, and it's a way to get people the Horror Syndicate T-shirt without me having to shell out a bunch of money and then having to charge people and me ship them out, because they ship them directly to you from wherever they print them. So it's a win-win for everybody, and that's actually the way the site has been funded the last 2 years, was by 2 booster campaigns. So we made enough to fund the site, and now it'd be nice to make enough to like take it to a convention. Have the Horror Syndicate having a presence at a convention. So that's kind of the whole idea behind it. And they're cool shirts, and you represent the Horror Syndicate, because the Horror Syndicate isn't just us. In my mind, it's everyone who follows the Syndicate's like a big group.
Yeah.
So everybody who follows a Horror Syndicate, and I mean, you never know. You could be like this schmo Mike over here who got on the show.
I don't like to use the term gang, but yes, a syndicate is a family or a group.
Well, like you could find yourself, suppose you just go to visit Manhattan and you're innocently doing heroin in an alleyway, and some guy comes up and starts fucking with you. Maybe your syndicate pals will come up and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna throw your ass in a barrel of toxic waste if you don't leave this guy alone." Like, fuck you.
Well, that was the 80s. Like, whenever you went into Manhattan, you paid the toll to get through the Lincoln Tunnel. At the end of the tunnel, you had to shoot heroin. It was just something that you're not from the tri-state area unless you shot heroin.
Well, you weren't paying for the toll; you were paying for the heroin, really.
Yeah.
I mean,
a lot of people don't know this. I have a lot of family in New York. That's definitely the case.
Mama's got to make her money somehow.
Well, it's really funny. Like, it's no wonder that the film committee, like New York, like the film commission and stuff, hated that movie. It's like they paint the most horrific picture of New York City imaginable.
Well, that was also back before they started cleaning up Times Square, and it was like a bunch of strip clubs and XXX movie theaters, and
yeah, Disney bought it out. They bought out Hell's Kitchen. They bought out Times Square. That's why it's so family friendly now.
Probably better off that way anyway.
It's expensive, but
it should be. It's the face of New York, really.
Yeah, it really exactly. I mean, you don't go to New York to go to fucking 8th Street in LaGuardia or whatever. I don't know.
I go to New York to find a sewer opening to go have pizza with the Ninja Turtles. Don't tell me how to live my life.
That's
They did like the Grindhouse theaters and stuff in Times Square. Then they cleaned up the chud problem they had.
Yeah.
New York is definitely much more tourist friendly.
They also cleaned up the Daniel Stern problem they had too.
Yeah,
no, Daniel Stern was excellent in Chud. Just throw that out there. He was a problem.
I'm talking about Home Alone 2.
Okay, because there was 2 times he was in New York, and the second one was the problem.
Well, see, Home Alone 2 was a prequel to Chud. You see,
Sticky Bandits.
Because you remember he got arrested, and then Bosch says he was arrested before he arrested him. That was because he was a wet bandit.
And a Sticky Bandit.
He went straight and he opened a soup kitchen to give back.
Amends.
No, Wet Bandit is my stage name when I do solo cam work.
Is that
you know what I want you to do, Mike? I'm gonna keep trying to get you to write articles for the Horror Syndicate because I think you could write some interesting stuff. I want you to write an article about all the shit horror related that New York has taken care of. The cleaning up the chud problem, taking care of Jason takes, the ghost problem from Ghostbusters 1 and 2. Think about all the things New York has had to put up with, and now Disney bought it out, and it's golden.
No, so what you're asking me to do is turn the Horror Syndicate website into The Onion. Because
we're already there, I think. I think that'd be a fun article to read, though, honestly.
You know what? My wife and I were talking about a really cool idea for a tattoo, and any of you who are watching out here on THS Lives, let me know if you could come up with a original concept, like illustration for it. It's going to be the 12 disciples all having like the Last Supper, and it's going to be all the characters from Alien and Aliens, and on the table is Kane's body with a baby xenomorph popping out as Jesus.
That would be
in the middle of everyone. So let me know if anyone's up for the challenge.
That'd be a cool poster.
Thinking about that, but what if also there was like a taco that had a mustache?
Now you're on it. It poops ice cream.
That would be pretty good.
I'll make sure I bring
Brian,
the frankincense and murder.
You could probably get Chris Interline if you pay him.
Passion of the Christ 2. The return.
Didn't New York live through that too?
Was that?
Yeah.
Passion of the Christ.
New York had it rough with the Passion of the Christ. They after Jesus climbed up on the lowercase T shape, he made it hard for daily commuters on the L train because it was such a sight to see, and they couldn't get around it.
Well, they actually are making a Passion of the Christ too, right? And I'm so upset it's not called Passion 2 Judgment Day. How fucking wonderful would that be?
Jim Caviezel is actually returning. I did hear about it. You're absolutely
back.
It's called Passion of the Christ 2, The Resurrection.
I never saw the first one, so how'd the first one end?
You're gonna be totally lost watching the sequel.
He flies away on a big giant furry dinosaur, and he throws his bullies into a giant dumpster outside of
just like the Bible then.
Yeah. Well, okay, Ray, spoiler alert, he dies at the end.
I'm not religious, so I don't know.
But not by choice, right?
Yeah.
A horribly violent death.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you eat too many damn enchiladas.
Happy Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
I mean,
you guys are wonderful.
Is anybody still even watching?
It says 4.
We have 3 or 4 people watching.
So it's been
I
all
think
night.
that was really fucking funny. We talked about Freddy mostly.
Well,
Nathan's a Freddy's girl. Like that's
In Dream Warriors' defense, we had to talk about how terrible that movie is.
This is true. This is true.
Thank you, Mike Lombardo.
You know,
I'm so
I mean-
glad that you and I can share moments like this
I
together.
would give anything
Jesus.
to know to convince people that Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is not a good movie. It has good moments. But
Gosh.
I want to read Wes Craven's original script because apparently what he wanted to do with that would cost way too much for them to do, and he left the project, and Chuck Russell and Frank Darabont or whoever, I think that's who it was, ended up making the movie, and it got like cut down quite a bit. I like Dream Warriors. I don't think it's the best sequel like everybody else does. I like it enough, and I do get confused at why it's labeled as the best of the sequels. Maybe because Nancy comes back. I don't know. I like it enough though. Not as much as Dream Master.
I made a comment earlier about Freddy the 13th. Why hasn't anybody made a meme for that yet? I was just Googling it. Nobody's done that yet.
There you go. There's your calling.
Freddy the 13th. Not that I give a shit, but since we were talking about Freddy so much, I was like, yeah, it's Freddy the 13th.
That's actually what they were going to call the sequel to Freddy vs. Jason. No, I'm not as good at jokes as Mike Lombardo. Where the hell is Chopping Mall?
See?
That's funny. I'm across the room from where I
That's
usually
so
am, and I can see it actually right where it is.
It's still gold, though.
So, talk about anything else, or we want to wrap this one up?
I love Jason.
I do too. I'm gonna watch Jason Goes to Hell
I know.
tonight.
Yes, you are. That's what I'm watching.
I am gonna watch
I've been
that.
watching it this whole time.
I've well, all you got to do is close your eyes and you're viewing it. But no, I'm gonna watch that because somebody asked on one of the live feeds I did earlier which Friday the 13th movies I'm watching today. Well, I've watched. The thing is, I'm having an outdoor movie night tomorrow night. I got a screen I'm putting up, and I got a projector and everything. And I'm watching 4, 5, and 6, the Tommy Jarvis trilogy. So I can't watch those, even though I had 6 playing during the podcast. But yeah, it's like I watched 8. I watched 1, 2, and 3. And I'm just not a big fan of 3. So it's like, what else is there? Could watch 7. I'm not in the mood for that. So I guess I'll have to watch fucking Jason Takes Manhattan.
And Leprechaun in the Hood and Leprechaun Back to the Hood.
I do have those. But I think I'm going to watch that. And if I've got time, I may end up watching the remake or the Freddy vs. Jason.
Freddy vs. Jason. The remake sucks.
I like the remake.
Stupendous.
I love the remake.
I hate it. I almost walked out of it. I was so annoyed.
Why?
Because it just wasn't good. It was all the stuff I hate about Friday the 13th, but thrown like it didn't even feel like a movie. It was the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. It's not a fucking movie. Like it's just a bunch like even by Friday the 13th standards, those kids are so fucking obnoxious. I couldn't handle watching it. It's just good. And then like Jason's like the guardian of the pot stash, and he abducts people and keeps them hostage in his underground school bus lair. And
I don't think he was guarding the pot stash. I just think that was happenstance.
I don't know. I really did not like that movie at all. Especially the
high on your own supply.
her head getting cut off in the beginning of it, which is so fucking shittily done. That's something. Let me say, we were talking about this briefly.
I like that actually.
I really don't like the first Friday the 13th movie that much.
Yeah.
Boring. And
no.
Bitch, when I met her, I do not like her at all.
I thought I helped you change that a little bit with that sultry picture of Steve Christie.
I mean, that was definitely something, but
I'm not I don't hate it, but I'm kind of with you. It's one that I don't go to very often because it's kind of boring and not that interesting. There's a site that I'm friends with the guy who runs the site, the horrorfix.com, and he recently did a list of the top 12 Friday the 13th movies. Well, there's 12 of them, and the first one was number 12. I'm like, wow, that's ballsy. And then here you come, and thinking about it, I mean, Jason made the franchise what it is.
Absolutely.
Okay, and while I like the idea that you have to start somewhere, Friday the 13th 2 may as well be Friday the 13th 1 to me, because a lot of times I skip over the first one.
Yeah, same here.
They contain it with a campfire legend, so they don't need to show it. I mean, the part 1 is just a really long, boring prequel.
Well, and the thing, and this is why I liked the remake parts when I got to see it in the theater, was they skipped over the boring movie of the first one, and they wrapped it up within the credits, opening credits, which is, to me, that's all you really needed to do. You don't need to see Betsy Palmer. You don't even see her going around killing people for a whole movie. And everybody knows the legend of Jason, right? For the most part. Mm-hmm. And you don't need we don't need a lengthy. I hate lengthy origin stories now. And they could have done that with that movie, but no, they cut the shit and went straight to Jason, and they didn't even give him the sack head, which I liked. So,
yeah, well, I don't know. The thing that really bothers me about the first one is like Betsy Palmer did that movie so she could pay for her car repairs. Like, she hated that movie, notoriously hated it. Like, as far as she was concerned, she scraped it off the bottom of her shoe like dog shit until it got popular and she could do the con circuit. Then she was Jason's mommy, and she's charging $60 a fucking autograph, taking pictures with people wearing a sweater. And I was like, fuck you.
This is why you didn't cast me in Doomsday, isn't it? Son of a bitch.
I'm sorry. Truth. But the other little connection I have that put a bad taste in my mouth about it was Victor Miller.
That guy's a scumbag.
Oh my god, we were at the film festival, the world premiere of White Doomsday, and he had a new movie that he wrote called Rock Paper Dead, which
Tom Holland directed it, I think.
Yeah, we're not going to discuss that movie, but it won an award, right? So the whole cast and crew, like all the people that were there for the movie, all cast and crew, super nice people, like really, really great, like have nothing but good things to say about all of them. They won the award. They all went up. Everyone was really gracious. Then Victor Miller goes up and he holds the award. He goes like this. He walks up and just holds it up and he says, Friday the 13th. And then just does this and walks away while everyone cheers. And I'm like, congratulations. You wrote the most generic, formulaic, rip-off pilot created. Like, good for you. Like, one of the 4 screenplays he wrote, and that was the only one that ever fucking went anywhere. I'm like, congratulations. It's so fucking obnoxious. So that was the first movie.
He's also part of the reason, part of the holdup for another movie. That's another reason I don't like him. And
oh wait, the next Jason movie?
Yeah. He and Sean Cunningham and the studios and whatever.
What I don't like about Friday the 13th is that you're right, it is an origin story, and it's just, whenever I start the Friday the 13th like marathon, I'm always like, should I watch the first one and not feel guilty?
Same fucking way.
I feel like I'm disappointing someone if I don't watch the first one.
Brian, you're exactly. We're like, well, coming up with the next bracket. That's that starts on Monday.
If I could just start the movie at Kevin Bacon's death and just go from there on.
There's some cool death scenes. Like Savini's work is really good. There's definitely good moments, but it's like, I don't know. Jason is what I want. I want to see Jason. Even as a kid, I just didn't like Betsy Palmer. I think that she's embarrassing at the end with her killer mommy and her fucking gnarly ass teeth. Like, I just don't like her.
So, what movie would you think best to represent the series? Because I don't think Friday the 13th is the best one to represent the series.
No, if I had to pick one to represent the series as a whole, I'd say Part 4. I think Part 4 is the strongest classic.
Boring, yeah.
Part 4.
Part 4 is boring.
I would just say Part 5.
Well,
I'm kidding.
Of course, we did the thing, Part 4, 1, 2, or 1, 4, and 6.
Yeah, no, 6 would definitely, in my opinion, because it was like everything. It hit the nail on the head on everything. It gave you your fan Jason. It gave you your fan story. Part 4 was great. And it had really
still human though.
And it was the beginning. Yeah, he was still alive, and it was the beginning of Tommy Jarvis. The part of the trilogy.
Are we sure he was still human?
Well, I mean, obviously, there's kind of that. Supposedly he drowned, but I mean.
No, I mean not even that. I mean he got an axe to the head, and I'm thinking he didn't have a pulse when they took him into the hospital. They took him.
He was hanging at the end of Part 3.
Yeah, I'm thinking he wasn't human the whole time.
Well, so here's that's an interesting side note, because my defense, of Jason X and Jason Goes to Hell is people complain about how Jason Goes to Hell fucks up the continuity and it's not like a pure Friday the 13th movie. There is no fucking continuity in those movies at all.
Go check thehorsesyndicate.com.
It stopped making sense from the beginning, and the only reason the sequels exist was to make more money. So
I made a timeline. There's a continuity, I tell you.
But I think that
Ray's figured it all out.
Continuity.
Crack the code.
Goes to Hell and stuff. It's like, why not? Why not change it up?
That's why Jason Goes to Hell to me and Jason X, anything New Line did is a standalone movie. That's why I can't even look at Friday the 13th, the remake, as a remake, because anything past, because there was a timeline, because you had the first movie. I mean, the second movie acknowledged the first movie, the events of the first movie.
Mhm.
Then the third movie takes place immediately after the second movie and the next day. And the fourth movie takes place right after.
It's like all four
But I
movies
know,
were
but
the same weekend, right?
That's inconsequential. It's part of the same series. You're not going to change the title of the movie series.
Jason Goes to Hell acknowledges all the previous sequels too.
Kinda, but not really.
They talk about it on those shows. They're like, Jason Voorhees responsible for X number of murders and all this stuff. It's there. The only difference is they added a mythology and they added a sister. But you could argue
and then he's a demon.
He also drowned when he was 9, so unless his corpse grew,
I think well,
there has to be some supernatural element to it.
It's Elias, his dad. I've had this theory for a long time. I think it's his dad.
Elias?
It's his dad.
Where do we get this name from?
It's from Friday the 13th. Jason Lives, the book. His dad's name was Elias in the book. Elias Voorhees. Look it up.
I think that the way they did it in Jason Goes to Hell, where it's like a demonic presence that is
causing. They stole that from Freddy's Dead.
I mean, Freddy was always strictly supernatural, but I mean, I think that the mythology they gave him in Jason Goes to Hell makes all the other ones make sense.
Okay, but my point is, Jason Goes to Hell, they couldn't use anything because of the studios. So they can say whatever the fuck they wanted that Jason did.
What out of the rich plot of the Friday the 13th franchise did you feel was missing in Jason Goes to Hell? Because people got naked and he killed them.
Like no, it has nothing to do with that. It's just it. First of all, Creighton Duke's the best part of the whole movie.
Oh my god, Creighton Duke is amazing.
The thing is,
Creighton Duke should have lived.
Yeah.
When I think about Jason Goes to Hell, I think of a donut and a hot dog. No, no, it's just let me have this. Let me have that. It's a single serving Friday the 13th movie. That
I agree with
all
you.
The sequels, the same things with because Jason X has nothing to do with Jason Goes to Hell, and just because Jason is a known killer in Jason Goes to Hell doesn't mean it has anything to do with any of the other movies.
See, but I don't think that there's
the mythology of Jason Voorhees himself.
I mean, I'll agree. Jason X is definitely a standalone or single-serving movie. They completely They even had a little troll in the beginning where it looks like he's in hell, but it's just his eyeball. The close-ups. But no, I mean, Jason Goes to Hell. There's nothing. They acknowledge just as much of the old movies as the other ones do. There's nothing more. There is a killer at Camp Crystal Lake.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Like, there's no other plot. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's nothing to connect it. It's just another.
That's why. They all do connect though.
Well,
they all the movies connect. All the first Paramount movies, they all connect.
They all connect.
They pick up where the last one left off. In part
so as far as how Jason gets resurrected,
exactly. That's picking up where it left off. Jason Goes to Hell does not do that.
Yeah, Jason Goes to Hell is more like a fan movie.
Being resurrected again, they don't need to.
No,
because you try to work out the end of Jason Takes Manhattan.
That's why they made that movie. That's part of why they made that movie. But I'm just saying that's why I look at it as a standalone because it does not connect to the other movies. They mention him killing all these other people. There's a camp and there's naked people or whatever, but it doesn't connect to the other movies. And it's partially, if it was a Paramount movie, I'm sure they would have figured out a way to do that. Mm-hmm. But I say that the Paramount series is a standalone series, and everything else is their standalone films, and that's the only way I can enjoy fucking Jason Goes to Hell.
Yeah, I agree with you because Jason Goes to Hell seemed more like a fan movie, and even Adam Marcus, like in the documentary, says that he was friends of Sean Cunningham's son in college, and they had to get this movie out before they lost their rights to it. And Adam put together this script and they made a movie, and it seemed like Adam was trying to introduce all the other stuff of New Line, with Freddy Krueger, and then eventually adding Ash Williams to the mix, bringing the Necronomicon and the dagger into the mix. It just, it seemed like it was more of an Evil Dead movie, and it definitely was a fan movie because it didn't follow the same formula that the Paramount Friday the 13th movies follow.
Good that they did something different with it, which is why people don't like it. And that's what annoys me. It's like
that's not my problem with it. That has never been my problem with it.
Okay, well, that's good to hear that you're not, but that's the argument I have with everybody that brings it up. They're like, it's like, how dare you change it after 8 copycat films? How dare you?
Mike, how many times have you and I cuddled while watching the shaving scene and talked about how great it is? And how much we want to reenact that.
What we have is special. That's completely different. And the shaving scene, I think,
in my opinion, not enough, guys.
That's rich for an offshoot. Another.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some cool things that come from that movie. I'm not gonna lie. The body jumping was something different, and it's not bad. There's one of my we were talking about favorite death scenes. One of my favorites, 2 of my favorites are in that movie out of the whole series, and one of them is whenever I think he's still the mortician, not mortician, the
autopsy guy.
The autopsy guy, yeah. So whenever the girl's picking the guy up for a date or whatever, and he just slams her in the door. I love just slams her into the door, and you can see her head squish in the door. I love that.
Yeah, that shit was awesome.
Yeah, and then the other one is whenever the fucking lady from the diner gets fucking elbowed in the face. I love that scene, And then after Jason leaves the bald cop's body, and he starts melting. I mean, there's some cool shit in there. There's so many things that for me pull it from Friday the 13th just because it goes more into the supernatural, and that's not the problem though. That's not the problem.
Well, it's not a traditional slasher flick. There's like a story.
No, I don't even think it's a slasher movie. Well, Jason's on a mission. He's on a mission. It's
a very self-aware movie, but that's the thing is you couldn't make another Friday the 13th movie like the Paramount ones. Like that time period, it was old hat 5 sequels ago. Like those movies were that's the thing people don't realize too, is the reason that Paramount 1 sold the rights for the franchise to New Line, and 2, the reason they stopped making them is because they were doing shit at the box office because people were fucking sick of them. Because they were the same movie over and over again.
Yeah, repetition.
Yeah, and that's something that people they want to defend the beloved franchise, but I mean it's a garbage movies. They really are. I love them, but they're not good. You can't tell me that they're good movies.
No, they're not. The people just like people seeing people get killed by the iconic guy in the mask.
Yeah, exactly. Like I grew up with it. I still love it today, but it's like let's stop being so precious about it. You can't be that protective. Like
as much as I'd like to see a new Friday the 13th film, there's parts of me that I don't think we ever need to see one again because we've got 12 of them.
Why do it? Like just let it go.
I want to see another one so they can get the 13th since it was the 13th. Friday the 13th.
Okay, so I'll say this actually, and this is not. I'm not just saying this because he was on the show. Never Hike Alone. I loved that for the same reason I love Jason Goes to Hell, because it went in a completely original direction, but it still kept the core of Friday the 13th. Like it had Jason doing his thing, but it was a really unique setup and it was different. And I really respected that. I think
that he was like this is my domain. You cannot come here. Like remember how he's talking about that? That was Jason's intention, was not being found out. And that's kind of what happened in Friday the 13th, the remake. They trespassed on his land.
Never Hike Alone did that much better than what they did in the remake.
No, I like Never Hike Alone a lot. It's the best. It's probably the best fan film I've ever seen of any fan film. Then, not to discredit Milliner's Confessions of Fred Krueger, because that's actually really good too. But Never Hike Alone was. Is Vincent watching? Because I'm trying to talk him up here.
I don't know if he's watching.
I'm joking. Yeah, no, it's really good.
Vincent, if you're watching, your movie was great.
Yeah. Is VHS at Midnight gone now?
VHS at Midnight is in hiatus right now.
Is the page gone? I just got asked that question.
Is the page gone?
Yeah.
What, here on the live cast? Can I mention it offline to you?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, so for those who are watching and concerned about VHS at Midnight.
Oh, there she is.
VHS at midnight is hibernating as we speak.
We're in a transition period.
I'm getting a lot of death threats. No, I'm kidding. No,
me.
it's just
Any reaction?
go. It's kind of hard to explain. I highly recommend going out and having fun on Friday nights. No, I'm kidding. It's in hiatus right now. And if if it does return, there will be a huge announcement. We'll have a celebrity guest announce it. Shouting from the rooftop, so you'll know about it.
Hint, hint. The celebrity is me.
Joe, by the way, Joe Ridgely, he
Yes.
said, "Hey guys, I've been noticing a bunch of fan edit movies online, such as 3.5 hour long Lord of the Rings that combine all the movies in chronological order and cut what they thought was boring. They did the same thing with The Godfather, Star Wars, Harry Potter, etc. Question is, do you have any fan edited horror movies to recommend? I don't think I've seen. The only ones I've seen where they recut the prequels of the Star Wars movies. They cut out almost all of Episode 1 except for the Darth Maul fight, and they cut out most of Episode 2, and then it was pretty much almost all of Episode 3. So,
There is one that I recommend if you can find it. It's all black and white. What they did was they edited Alien, Aliens, and Prometheus as one whole movie, as a 3-hour movie. And I believe it begins with Prometheus, and then it goes into Alien, and then ends with Aliens.
Well, they're going to have to recut that now with Covenant, right?
I'm not counting Covenant.
I still haven't seen that, so I can't.
If I did it, I would just cut Prometheus and Covenant out entirely, and then just never watch them again.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of Prometheus.
I liked Prometheus. Go ahead,
Another
Jared.
cool cut is Night of the Living Dead, Day of the Dead, and Dawn of the Dead all in one movie, and make it all black and white. I think that'd be fun.
It'd be interesting to see Dawn in black and white.
Yeah, especially so the
I
colors
agree.
pop.
Like the 3-hour version that nobody ever sees.
I would like to see a cut of Evil Dead.
Thanks, Joe.
Into Evil Dead 2 into Army of Darkness as one whole movie where they include what happened to Ash, and they kind of skip over the beginning scene from Evil Dead 2 where Ash and Linda go to the cabin, and then just kind of start it off when he's pushed down the cabin.
Take Evil Dead 1 and have almost all of Evil Dead, and then cut down Evil Dead 2 about 45 minutes. What it sounds, and then go into Army of Darkness.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
With the original ending?
Because no, I wouldn't do the original ending. Just because the original ending sucks. Like even like
of Evil Dead 1 or 2?
Army of Darkness.
I like it, but
the apocalyptic ending.
Yeah.
They took that for the comics and stuff. I mean, I like it, but I like the new ending better.
Yeah.
It's definitely more fun, which I think
seems like Bruce Campbell likes the original ending better. Based on that documentary.
That's not what his paycheck says.
That's what his mouth says.
Hey guys, just to interject, I gotta get going here. I have a guest arriving, so I'm gonna. Yeah, it's an author friend of mine, John Bruni. So I will. I gotta sign off here, guys. But it's been an absolute pleasure as always. And
let's go ahead and close the show out anyway.
All right.
I got Jason Goes to Hell to watch and Mike Lombardo to think about. So.
All right. My name is Brian Enright. You can follow me on Facebook at Brian Enright. You can follow me on Instagram at The Horror Jew, and Twitter you can follow me at The Horror Jew. I don't know where Jared is, but Mike Lombardo, where can we find you?
You can find me in your bushes next week, 13th.
Is that what that noise is out there?
It is. This is a recording, Ray.
Oh, okay.
You can find me at realsplatter.com. That's REL.com, Facebook.com/realsplatter. And next month, you'll be able to find me at the Crimson Screen Horror Film Festival in South Carolina. White Doomsday will be playing there. And if you're going to Days of the Dead in Charlotte, it will be playing there Friday at midnight.
I might be there.
So, guys, check it out there. I won't be in Charlotte, unfortunately, but I'll be in North Carolina.
Can I be your rep at Days of the Dead if I go?
Please, dude, absolutely.
All right. Thank you. Up next, we have Jared Letourneau. Jared, where can we find you?
You guys can follow me on Facebook at Jared Laterno or on Twatverse at zombie_survivor. Special thanks out to Nathan Thomas Milliner for joining us for that wonderful Friday the 13th conversation.
Friday the 13th.
Hashtag Friday the 13th.
Yeah. No, it was a really fun night, guys. I know we kind of rambled off on a lot of different topics, but it was
I'd like to have him on again, and not just for a Freddy show.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of insight. That's why I follow him on Facebook. He's got a lot of good insight on not just horror films, just films in general.
He really had a lot of great stuff. Like, he really did think a lot differently about modern horror.
Now, off horror, he almost has me changing my mind on The Last Jedi by the offline Facebook chat that we've had, to where I don't hate it as much as I used to. But anyway.
Awesome. Back to you, Brian.
All right, thank you very much, Jared. And last but not least, we have the president and Fuhrer, Razor. Ray, good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Let us know where you're from.
Good evening.
We're starting over? What?
We're starting over. You can find me on Twitter at Razor_33. If you want to follow me, my last name is Marek. And I am such an asshole. I'm looking forward to more live streams on Facebook and chatting horror with you guys on random nights. So, and look for the brackets to start 70s versus 80s on Monday, and tomorrow night we're doing the live selection show. We're gonna just draw names out of a fucking hat or something like that. I think my brother-in-law is bringing over a goblet of a skull or some shit. So we're gonna do that tomorrow live on Facebook. I look forward to that, and hopefully you guys will jump in on that. And then there was one other thing. Oh, we're going to be doing T-shirts. Don't forget about that. I'll be getting that ready tomorrow. Hopefully, I got the design. It's approved by these fucks, so we're going to go ahead and go.
All right, and who were our two winners?
They both of them already contacted the Horror Syndicate. It was Crystal Moore won the Part 3 mask. She was the first winner drawn, and the second was Lonnie Reimer, who was on here watching the show for a while with us too. So both sent their addresses to me, so I will be getting those out sometime next week. And when you're done, or when you get the masks, take pictures, and we will post them on the Facebook page, maybe the website too. Who knows? So
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us here at the Horror Syndicate, guys and girls. We hope we provide you with an excellent show. Please hang out with us more often. We're here every Friday night from 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 Central to whenever. And, we're looking forward to bringing more guests on for you and talking the shit and talking about horror movies and doing what we love best. And that's to just talk about which is our favorite Critters movie versus Jason Takes Manhattan. And, of course, Jason Goes to Hell. So thank you very much for joining us tonight. And everyone have a safe, great night. And don't forget,
he's out there.
Or is it chit? I don't know. Whatever. Good night.
All right.